All right. Happy Saturday, everybody. Here we are. We made it to the weekend. One more, one more week of being alive and excited and happy and optimistic about the future. You might ask why I'm saying that, but it's because I encounter so many people nowadays that have this like insanely doomer, pessimistic, like fucking idea about the world, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to get to do the things I get to do, be a parent of awesome children, have a job that like I can engage in and try to do better at. But the funniest thing is you get on the internet and you talk to people and everything's bad. Everything's bad. But then I come across Rodney Norman. And Rodney Norman here looks like a gentleman that has the answer to all your problems. I mean, am I right? Does Rodney Norman look like a dude that has all the answers to all your problems? I think so. It's either that or he's Santa Claus. I'm not sure which. Don't bro me. Manic, bro you. What up, James? You think he has problems? Well, that's a hell of a take. Look at this gentleman. He's obviously out on a pond somewhere, experiencing nature, doing the things that so many people aren't doing nowadays. He's touching the grass, literally standing inside of the grass. Bidenomics has been higher prices of part-time jobs. Patrick, like, I always say this about the internet. The internet's like such a funny place because you get on the internet and you get into like a conversation, and can you imagine if the internet was anything like reality? Like, you're just like talking to your friend. You're like, oh, hey, what's up, James? How you been? He's like, dude, I'm doing good. How are you doing? You're like, what's up, Manic? How are you doing? She goes, bro, you know? And then here comes Patrick's time. Walks directly into the middle of the conversation, and he's like, Binox has been higher prices and part-time jobs. No context. No hi, hello, how are you doing? Just fucking 0 to 60. Can you imagine if real life operated anything like the internet? Just like, you're just sitting there and you're like, hey, what's going on, guys? Are you guys having a good day? Yeah, I'm having a great day. And some guy comes in, he's like, fuck Joe Biden! Oh, man. What's up, Sharon? How's it going? Oh, Christ. Oh, you guys are getting harp earthquakes. Harp earthquakes! There's been quite a few earthquakes up there. Isn't there something like 300 earthquakes a day or a minute or some shit like that we don't notice because they're all in the ocean? Oh, internet. The internet it's changed us forever, but that's okay. Norman here is going to bring us back. Are you guys ready for this? Yeah, exactly, Manic. Patrick Time is that customer that walks up to the counter and says, baloney! Instead of, hey, I need help finding something. There was this guy who worked for me for a while, and he just walked in the back, and he goes, God, I hate these people. I'm like, what's up, bud? He's like, yeah, this customer just walked in, looked at me, and went, blueberry. And he's like, I was like, I what? And the guy goes, blueberry. He's like, okay, what can I do for you? He's like, I want blueberry yogurt. Okay, just ask for it. This is like, these people are insane. Look, Tommy's the same. Tommy comes up in this bastard too. He's just like, I want to get straight to arguing. Like, you guys got no fucking chill. This is what's wrong with you guys. You guys don't know how to come into the room with this like kind of like kosher attitude of like, hey, how are you guys going? I'd like to talk about some things today. How are you? Are you doing okay? Yeah, you're doing okay. That's good. How are your children? Are they okay? Yeah, that's great. I'm glad. That's good to hear. Anyways, I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple things today. No, you fucks are 0 to 60. What up, Spikin? What up, Spikin? I've literally been on here for like 2.5 minutes. Yeah, I'm making more money than ever before too. My dick hurts. I mean, I guess I do kind of start it off with you guys by putting in the poll things like, what the fuck is monkeypox? Does this look like cancer? I do kind of bait you guys. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about this as I was writing the poll. And I was thinking about that Trump supporter that tortured those monkeys. And I was like, man, I hope all the people that were fucking with them monkeys, I hope they all got monkeypox. I seriously hope they all got monkeypox. I don't know if you guys know what monkeypox is, but it looks disgusting. It looks like it's not a good thing. It looks like something that you should definitely avoid in your life. And I do believe you get it from eating bats. I'm pretty sure. I'm here to take names and kick ass, and I'm all out of names. What up, Jeff? Biden Stern interview. No, I did not. You went to a Palestine protest today and got pushed around a lot? Well, yeah, Tommy, you're at a protest. Dude, you know, the other day somebody, I think it was Jess, brought up the Stonewall protests. And I was like, damn, why do I know what that is, but I don't know what that is? And then I remembered the other day that the Stonewall protests were had a lot to do with the something to do with, like, it was like, I won't want to say it's LGBT because it wasn't LGBT back then, right? It was just like gay people. And I'm pretty sure those gay people kicked the shit out of some motherfuckers, right? Protests today just aren't the same. I'm just saying. Those gay people are like, you ain't fucking taking my shit. Oh, man. Biden does turn out to be a human. That is true. People do get really worked up about the Israel-Hamas issue. Yeah, I'm trying to stay out, bro. I don't want that smoke. Dude, Patrick, calm down. Biden made false claims during this. Oh, okay, you're actually talking about something we're talking about. Okay, my bad, Patrick. This is your time. I'll have to check it out. I'll check it out. We'll see what did he, is it because he was talking about his uncle getting eaten by cannibals? I love that you guys get mad about Biden saying that his son died in Iraq, even though every one of you motherfuckers would say the same thing. If your child was in the military and died due to exposure to the fire pits, which we all know is a real thing because Jon Stewart said it was, and we all know that Jon Stewart is part of the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, which is actually George Carlin, Bill Burr, and Jon Stewart, so we know that it's the gospel truth. And you know that if it was your son and he died because of exposure to the fire pits in Iraq, you would say that your son died because of Iraq. And yet you guys are just like, you guys are so hyper fucking sensitive that you're just like, he says his son died in Iraq and that's not true. His fucking son died serving in the military. Was he shot running down a street in Hezbollah? I don't even think that's not even a place, is it? That's a group of people. Don't you dare test me on geography because I will fail and I will fail badly. But you guys know your asses would say the same shit. You guys get so worked up. You guys crack me up. Quas was in prison, was a gay dude that would wipe some ass. Dude, I remember, I think it was the late 90s. I think I was probably like 18 or 20 years old. And this dude, his name was Roy? I think his name was Roy. Roy was from Baltimore. He said Baltimore. Is that how you guys say in Baltimore? Do you guys say Baltimore? He always said Baltimore. He was from Baltimore. And he was pretty ghetto. That's why he was hanging out with me, because I was still pretty ghetto back then. I was still slumming it, still doing a lot of bad shit. And I remember Roy coming down, and Roy had some problems with language being from Baltimore. He would say a lot of homophobic stuff. He'd say a lot of racist stuff. When I first met Roy, I had to check Roy on saying some racist stuff. And then after that, we were kind of okay. He ended up being like my friend's boyfriend, so I ended up having to like kind of watch this dude and hang out with him for a little bit while he was not in Baltimore. And we ended up at this gas station. And I remember there was this gay dude, and this was back when there was payphones, right? And this gay dude was on the phone, and he was pretty flamboyant. He was saying some stuff. He had the accent, you know, he's doing his thing. And I'm just minding my own business, but Roy couldn't mind his own goddamn business because Roy was a homophobe. So Roy was like, said something pretty loudly about this dude's conversation and how gay this guy sounded. And that dude, I shit you not, he put that payphone down and turned around and was like, "Do you want to get your ass beat?" The gay dudes I grew up with will whoop your ass, all right? The gay dudes I grew up with would fucking wipe the parking lot with you. Like, just your face just fucking scrubbed along the asphalt. And you know what Roy did? Roy backed the fuck down, because that dude looked like he was ready to box. Roy was like, no. Roy got checked. This shit was hilarious. Biden repeats his claim that he got arrested defending civil rights. There's still no evidence for it. Yeah, I would have to look into some of this stuff. I would have to look into it. What up, Jess? How's it going? If he lied about his son, then lying to the American people would be a breeze for him. Hold on. But he didn't lie about his son. Like I said, you guys are so full of shit about that, him lying about his son. Every one of you motherfuckers would say your son died in Iraq too. He fucking died because of being in the military in Iraq. He didn't get shot on the street. But his ass definitely died because he was in the military in Iraq. Dude, you guys are so, like, funny. You guys are sensitive dudes. Yeah, you know, no gay dudes ever hit on me, and I kind of feel bad about that, because I kind of wish you would. I mean, it hurts my feelings. Dude, he did do the pause thing. But how do you know he wasn't saying no diddy, Dan? How do you know he wasn't saying no diddy? Yeah, you don't know that. You don't know that. Dude, just got back from the store and decided to rain on you? Oh, woke. It just stopped raining up here. It just stopped. So, thank God. Or whatever. Mother Earth. George Santos would say it's true. Thank you, Jess. Thank you. You know, I had this girl that worked for me once, and she was talking about people that her boyfriend was 6'1" or something like that. And she goes, I said something about not being 6 foot, and she goes, "Yeah, you are. You're 6 foot." And I was like, "Nah, I'm like 5'11". And she's like, "Well, you got 6 foot energy." That was probably the biggest compliment I've ever had. You wrote the script, Dan? Damn it! Well, how am I ever going to prove that that's not true? Or yo digity. Yeah, exactly. I don't dress nicely enough to be hit on. My wife says that I can't lift my arms right now because you guys are going to see the holes in my shirt. But this is a really comfortable shirt. I want you guys to know that this is one of my favorite shirts. It feels really nice on the ginger skin. And being that I suffer from all of the skin conditions because I am a ginger and like we come pre-equipped, like, you know, we're fully loaded with skin conditions, you got to have nice shirts. And this shirt right here, it's not the nicest quality shirt, but I've had it for like 5 years and it just feels so nice on the skin. It feels so nice on the skin. Nebraska in the news. What happened to Nebraska? Dude, there's always so much shit going on. So much shit going on at all times. Joe Biden offered his praise and thanks to a group of wounded warriors at the White House earlier this week, but had his back to them for his entire speech until Joe Biden turned him around. See, but you guys always be lying about shit too. Y'all lie too. Don't act like y'all don't fucking exaggerate and make up shit too. You motherfuckers come up in here and you tell me that I said shit was wrong, and then I Google that shit after I get off the stream, and I was fucking right, all right? So I'm tired of you motherfuckers coming on here always acting like you don't exaggerate, you don't lie, you don't have a laptop with pictures of your dong and crack and prostitutes on it. We all have a laptop like that. Bunch of goddamn liars. I will check the video though. Why do all gingers have anger issues? It's because of the red. Red's a hateful color. It's an angry color, and really it like gets down into our brains, and up into our brains. You know, I don't know. I think it's because we're Irish and Scottish, to be honest with you. You know that gingers are the actual most genuine number one minority in the world. We make up less than 1% of the world's population, guys. There are more of everybody than there is of gingers. But if you go to Ireland or if you go to Scotland, I think 13% of the entire population of gingers is in those places. So I think it has a lot to do with that. Like if you've ever seen Braveheart and the Irish guy in Braveheart, that's a pretty strong depiction of Irish people or of Irish descent in general. I think I might have just said something racist about my own people. What up, Dan from the UK? Are you from Great Britain? No shit. Oh, Jay, you've said that before. Jay, you've been here. Jay, you gotta, if you're gonna come in here and insult me, you have to have new insults. If I can remember your insult, then it's not very good. You gotta do better, okay? Who hasn't been in a motel smoking crack with whores? Exactly, James. Thank you. I'm just saying, people need to be more accepting of alternative lifestyles. Oh, man. No intel on Burmesa on my You don't have... Well, I worked for whatever that fucking place was for a little bit. Scotland! Dan, are you a ginger? Oh, you're English. What the fuck, you goddamn colonizer. That's what you are. You're a goddamn colonizer. If you guys don't know, my friend Neve, who's on the internets, a transgender person that you should all be supporting, because Neve is fucking amazing. Neve. And Neve has, on multiple occasions, when I've been talking about certain things, called my ass out and been like, no, you're wrong about that. Sometimes when I'm defending the trans community, she's like, you're wrong about that. So take that shit. Yeah, take it. What up, Dash? What's going on? James. All right, hold on. I'm up here. I'm waxing poetically. I just got done lifting weights for like an hour and a half too. Plus had my kid hit some pads. So I'm all worked up. But the solution to all your problems. This guy looks like he has a solution to our problems. He also looks like he possibly has a laptop of his own. Okay? Let's see.
Hello. I'm here to remind you.
Hold on. I'm going to be honest with you guys. That's exactly what I thought he was going to sound like.
That the only thing keeping you from achieving all your dreams and having all of the things that you've ever wanted.
I got flip-flops on too. Hold on.
Is probably money. That's it. It's just lots of money. So if you could just get lots of money, you could probably have all that stuff that you wanted.
Oh, he's not wrong.
Okay, just go get a bunch of money somewhere.
This is spot on.
Think about that for a while. Have a super freaking awesome day and stuff. Or you could just decide to be happy anyway and don't need all that stuff, and then the money's not all that important. But, you know.
Hitting us with facts. All right?
Otherwise. Okay. Okay, bye.
This is a little compilation that was put together. Yeah, Nikki McCann.
And then this guy, look, the very next, this is how YouTube rolls. You watch that video, and the very next video that YouTube tries to give you is Yale Zionist stabbed by Palestinian flag, claim hilariously debunked. I don't know, that guy might be my favorite YouTuber. Somebody asked me the other day what my top 3 favorite YouTube streamers or content creators were. I'm going to put Rodney Norman straight to the top now. Rodney Norman has 123K subscribers, and usually I give you guys a hard time for not getting me to the point of this gentleman, but I don't know if I will ever reach Rodney Norman's level. That was straight up facts. Okay, guys? Get money. And I believe it's get money, fuck hoes. Is that what it is? Is that what Rodney Norman said? I want to hear this man say that. In that voice, I want to hear him say that. I also would like to hear him say or recite the song "Boats and Hoes" as well. I think that'd be amazing. All right, we're gonna watch this because a lot of people. I don't ever know these content creators you guys watch, okay? And every once in a while, you guys suggest content creators. And every once in a while, I make a video about a content creator. And you guys are like, no, I love those people. Those people are dope. Those are my favorite people. And I'm like, holy shit, I literally just found them. Hysteria is one of them. And I thought they were pretty fucking funny. And so I wanted to watch this video because we have Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's a weird dude, guys. He is a weird dude. I don't care who you are. Like, you can say you like Tucker Carlson. You can say you think Tucker Carlson is knowledgeable. You can say you enjoy Tucker Carlson. But you have to admit, he's a fucking weird dude. All right? He's trippy. That laugh he does. That shit, when he does that shit, that's weird. Guys, I have a weird laugh. Tucker Carlson, like, he leapfrogs right over my ass for weirdness. I'm just going to be honest with you. You can't say he is not weird. What up, Mike? Mike's in the house. We can all start having fun again. All right, guys. So this is Hysteria. And these two ladies are pretty amazing. So we're going to watch a little bit of this because this is what I know about Tucker Carlson. The things that I know about Tucker Carlson is obviously he was on Fox News. Obviously, he got fired from Fox News because of the defamation lawsuit. I know that he really does not like Donald Trump, even though he tells people that he does. I know that he doesn't understand how slave labor builds really nice subways in Russia. I know that he's never been to a grocery store with a coin-operated cart because he was stunned when he found them in Russia. And I also know, is he the son of the people that own Swanson, the frozen foods, and he has a buttload of money. Those are the things I know about him. I also know that he apparently does not believe in evolution. He thinks that we didn't discover nuclear energy. There's some stuff about aliens. Like, I don't know why Tucker Carlson didn't get a job with the History Channel during that whole aliens phase. I think he would have ended up being a much more likable individual if he would have just went that route instead of the Fox News route. Like, Billy Brooks, he's another one of these people. Just comes right in the room. And just yells the weirdest shit. Just walks into the room and he's like, Jim Crow, Joe Biden! Like, everybody in the room's having a beer, smoking a joint, enjoying their time. And then Billy Brooks walks into the room and just yells loudly, Jim Crow, Joe Biden! And everybody just like, what the fuck? Tucker always looks like he smells like poo. He's got the weirdest laugh in television. Doesn't he, Dan? It's seriously one of the strangest things. And I'm fine with it because it looks like it's genuine, right? Like, it looks like he really enjoys that shit. So I'm okay with somebody laughing weird if they look like that's like, they really do it. It's those, like, maniacal laughs that scare the shit out of me.
Welcome to another edition of This Fucking Guy, the series where we pick one fucking guy who is making America worse and explain why they suck. I'm Erin Ryan, host of Crooked Media's
Sociopathic Charlie,
podcast.
you think that's what's going on?
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco, the other host of Crooked Media's Hysteria podcast.
We've discussed fucking guys who were second in line to the presidency, fucking guys who humiliated themselves for Donald Trump, only to be discarded like a spent condom.
Hold on.
And even a fucking guy.
Hold on. What did happen to Vivek? Dude, what happened to Vivek? I just realized that. He just, like, disappeared. Donald Trump used his ass up and then was like, out of here. He's like, sorry, you're too brown. The Republicans don't like that. He said, your name? Republican. Not real big on people named Vivek Ramaswamy. He's like, you're too close to Barack Obama. It's like, it's not even close to that. He's like, it doesn't matter. Republicans hear Vivek, they think Barack. They hear Ramaswamy, they think Obama. Also, didn't he steal a bunch of fucking Obama's lines?
Guy who died queen of the anti-feminists.
This episode, we're going to get into the life and times of a fucking guy who
Liberals
may lack
don't know
direct
day
political
from night.
power, but
That is
makes up for it
possibly
in
the
influence.
dumbest shit I've
We're
ever
talking
heard
about the
somebody
head of
say,
the
Horseman.
AARP Brat Pack, the patron saint of aggrieved rich prick
Dude,
manufactured
go back to
victimhood,
the drawing board. You
heiress
need to come back with
stepmom
something
boarding
better
school
than that.
populist himself, Tucker Carlson. Perhaps we should call this episode "This Tuckin' Guy" in his honor.
Oh, Aaron,
And why does every picture of Tucker Carlson always look like he's like lost in thought or didn't get the joke or
Patron saint
it
of
just
aggrieved
always
rich
seems
prick
so strange.
manufactured victimhood, the heiress stepmom boarding school
They're
populist
amazing,
himself,
right?
Tucker Carlson. Perhaps we should call this episode "This Tuckin' Guy" in his honor.
Oh, Aaron, a man whose face screams, "I am the
I
eldest
do like
boy,"
the color of that wall in the background.
and whose mouth says whatever it needs to say to keep his audience stupid and angry.
Tucker Swanson McNear Carlson was born
What's
in
George Wallace, a Republic? It's a
1969 in
different
San Francisco,
time, Patrick.
California, a city he
You
was
guys
later
keep trying to
described as a
conflate
city
like
in
fucking
decline
parties,
that
like the
had become,
Democrat
quote,
Party
filthier
from
and more chaotic
1880.
than Mumbai,
Are you
India.
seriously going to
His mother was a
conflate
socialite with a hippie
the
streak, and
Republican
his dad
Party
was a
from that
middling
age to the
newscaster
one that
named
is
Dick.
today?
Thanks to his mother's social status, his parents were so well connected and enmeshed in San Francisco society that his christening
that's right, he's a
got
San
9
Franciscan.
paragraphs in the society pages of the San
Holy
Francisco
shit.
Chronicle.
Tucker in a long white dress must have been a sight to
a dope
behold.
picture in the
He's so
background.
fashiony. White dress preceded
Dude.
the bow tie era.
Of course. That September, Dick, then a freelance.
All right, guys. Serious question. Bow tie or no bow tie? Because I think the bow tie's a little weird. But I don't know, some people rock it, right? Like, I think you put a bow tie on me, like, man, it ain't looking good, dog. I don't think I could rock the bow tie.
writer got in trouble over a piece he'd
I
written
wear a
for
bow tie.
Look
No one's letting me
magazine,
around their
accusing
kids.
San Francisco Mayor Joe Alioto of being deeply involved with the mafia. Alioto
Awesome.
sued Look magazine for libel, asking for more than $12 million. During the legal proceedings, Dick's reporting work fell apart under questioning. Look magazine and Dick's libel mess went on for more than 7 years and ended with $350,000 in damages paid to Alioto.
Shades of the future
Nobody over
Fox
5 should
News
wear a bow
Dominion
tie.
lawsuit.
Good call,
But in a
Candace.
dazzling display of mediocre white man failing up, Dick Carlson managed to eventually be named Director of Voice for America, and eventually the CEO of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, among other media
What a
properties.
dick.
Mediocre excellence. Those were the days.
2 years after Tucker was
You think a
born,
bow tie
his
is better
mom
than a
gave birth
long-ass
to a
red
younger brother
tie?
named
Good
Buckley.
call, Jeff.
Yes,
Good call.
That's Tucker's little brother's real name. His parents must have been fans of the sound of the syllable uck. Buckley eventually
Hold
grew
on,
up
what?
to be a
Hold on.
Republican
Buckley?
communications consultant.
Buckley
Tucks
Carlson?
and bucks, the kind of American family that Tucker would rail against as part of the elite establishment if it wasn't his own immediate family.
Carlson's gilded childhood didn't last long. His parents ran into marital problems, and his dad was granted sole custody of the boys when they divorced. His silly rich mother ran off to France, and Tucker reportedly never saw her again.
And here we have, folks, what I'm sure Tucker credits as his misogyny origin story.
Around
Yes.
this time, Tucker's dad moved them to La Jolla, San Diego, where their house overlooked the La Jolla Beach and Tennis Club.
Oh,
La Jolla's
Oh.
fancy.
Yeah, the reason I keep bringing up what fancy boys Tucker and Buckley were is that Tucker, like a lot of Republicans who have made millions spewing far right-wing nonsense, likes to pretend he had some sort of hard scrabble or even average past. Most middle-class kids don't grow up with a view of a tennis club.
nah.
Well, in his defense, Aaron, it feels like a lot of politicians practice Tuckerism. Like, look at me. I'm like you. I can split wood, wear a barn jacket, know the price of milk. You can trust me. But LOL, I was raised with silver spoons, pate, and tennis clubs.
Yeah, I don't think Tucker knows the price of milk. Luckily, before the family had to sink deeper into the lower upper crust, Dick Carlson found another heiress to marry. This time it was twice married, twice divorced, Patricia Swanson of the frozen fish stick Swansons.
This
Patricia
is how
would
it
go on to
happened.
adopt
Okay.
Tucker and Buckley and then later send Tucker to boarding school in Switzerland. Tucker would later say he was, quote, kicked out and sent instead to another boarding school in Rhode Island, where he met his future wife, the daughter of the headmaster.
Daughters of privilege are catnip to the Carlson men.
Despite having all the connections and resources in the world, Tucker could not manage to get into a college most people have ever heard of. While an undergraduate, he was a member of the Dan White Society, which was named after the man who assassinated San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and the gay activist Harvey Milk.
I mean, we're all kind of shitheads
what the
in
hell?
college, but what kind of person would join a group named after somebody most famous for killing a gay activist?
Yeah, Young
strange.
Tuck showed promise as a magazine writer, making the rounds through New York and D.C. media and writing noteworthy pieces on George W. Bush, the war in Iraq, and Libya. In 2000, he won a CNN contract, and in 2001, he was made co-host of the show Crossfire. Back then, he was kind of thought of as a
because
cool
he's a
young
CNN
Republican,
guy.
respected by the intellectual class because he was more welcome at Beltway parties than the turnip truck flyover Republicans who were vandalizing abortion clinics and joining militias at the time. Eventually, he'd make a career cozying up to those people,
him.
but not quite yet.
Look at this guy. He is such a strange-looking dude. I am so sorry. I don't want to be that person. But dude, he is goofy. He is so goofy.
So, to give people a sense of what Crossfire was, first, the word shrill comes to mind to accurately describe the cast of mostly white men, though Geraldine Ferraro and Mary Matlin did have stints on Crossfire. But these men represented the left and
Taylor
the
Swift
right,
is
and
more
they debated
popular
nightly.
than
Of
the
course, that led to
entire
the first
fucking
Tucker's
right.
Many public spankings under the steady but stern hand of Jon Stewart. I am so sorry for that imagery. In a now infamous 2004 Crossfire appearance that to this day some speculate led to the show's cancellation.
Hold on, Patrick. You want to know why all those people are on the right? And first of all, Rogan's not even hard right. So like you need to probably relook into what people like Rogan actually believe. But you know why? Because the Republicans are a party of symbolism over substance. They like their WWE personas. They like dudes in spandex, even though they're like, we're totally not gay. They love having people with big personalities that make bombastic statements, that say hyperbolic shit. They don't like truth. They don't like facts. They don't like real stuff. Tucker Carlson didn't get popular because he was fucking spitting truth. He got popular because he said a bunch of weird shit that you guys are like, I want to believe that. Hell yeah, brother. Like that's the real stuff. That's the secret. That's the shit that no one will tell you. You guys like symbolism. You don't like substance. And people like fucking Cornel West aren't super fucking popular because he just sits there and talks to you and tells you things. People like Robert Reich aren't amazingly popular, which all these guys are super popular, but they're not fucking Tucker Carlson popular because of the fact that they actually keep shit grounded. People don't want to hear real shit. People want to believe that everything's crazy and everything, all these real things. These people are taking advantage of you and they're trying to kill you off. And there's all this crazy shit that's going on behind the scenes that you guys don't know about, bro. Like, that's what you guys like. You like symbolism. You don't like substance. You don't like sitting down. I was just talking about this the other day, listening to the 3-hour conversation between the Supreme Court and Donald Trump's lawyer and the Department of Defense's lawyer. If you actually sit there and listen to that conversation, you hear how the legal system actually works. And it's not, for me, it's really interesting, but for most people, it's going to be pretty boring. And you guys don't like that shit. I guarantee you did not listen to the 3-hour conversation between the Supreme Court and fucking Donald Trump's lawyer and the Department of Defense's lawyer. But I fucking guarantee you would listen to 3 hours of Tucker Carlson spitting complete conspiracy bullshit on Joe Rogan's podcast. You would fucking eat that up. It's because it's interesting. It's because it's fun. It's because it makes your shitty, boring life seem like it's actually got something to it. You like symbolism. You don't like substance. That's why those people are popular.
To do a debate would be great, but that's like saying pro wrestling is a show about athletic
just to say
this. I think you're a good comedian. I think your lectures are boring. Let me ask you a question on the news.
Now, this is theater. I mean, it's
Jeff Dernay, it's the Hysteria podcast.
And you wear a bow tie.
Yeah, I do.
So this is...
I know, you're right. Let me just go. No, come on.
And listen, I'm not suggesting that you're not a smart guy, because those are not easy to tie. But the thing is that you're doing theater when you should be doing debate, which would be great.
No, it's just
not honest. What you do is not honest. What you do.
And that's why I love Jon Stewart. And that's why Jon Stewart's part of the Holy Trinity, okay? Holy Trinity, Jon Stewart, fucking amazing.
Is partisan hackery, and I'll tell you why I know
John Kerry on your show, and you sniff his throne, and you're accusing us of partisan hackery?
What a fatty!
You've got to be kidding, man.
You're on CNN.
Say,
the show that leads into me is puppets making crank phone calls. What is wrong with you?
As the host was signing off later, Stewart would call Tucker a dick. As someone who watched this as a young college kid at the time.
Fucking amazing. What up, Brad? What up, Jose?
I do think you're more fun on your show. Just my opinion.
But
Okay,
just
next, Jon Stewart goes one-on-one.
Liz, same generation.
On your show.
Hell yeah.
Looking back now, this seems to be, as they say, Tucker's villain origin story. A few months later, in January 2005, CNN
Jon
announced
Stewart
they
broke
were
him.
setting Tucker free to practice his signature "just sniffed a fart" and is confused about where it came from face on another network.
Something I didn't know, or maybe just didn't remember because it's not really that important, was that Tucker Carlson had a short-lived show on PBS.
Yeah. At the
Oh.
same time he was hosting Crossfire,
Did he?
he was hosting a show called Tucker Carlson Unfiltered on the same network that brought you Sesame Street.
Damn, look at how
Funny
old that
enough,
video
Tucker's
is.
time at PBS would come full circle in 2020 when he used his Fox News platform to pick a fight with Elmo.
Across the country, people of color, especially in the black community, are being treated unfairly because of how they look.
Children's show. Got that, Bobby? America is a very bad place, and it's your fault. So no matter what happens, no matter what they do to you when you grow up.
I like that. That's what you guys get. I like that, like, out of something like that, you guys go to the most negative fucking place that you possibly can go. Like, that's what people on the right side here on Sesame Street saying that there's a community of people that are marginalized is that kids are growing up feeling like, oh man, it's all my fault. Do you know that it's okay to both accept that something happened or that something is happening and that it isn't 100% your fault? Like, this is a conversation my wife had with me at one point or another in my life where she said, men do this. And I said, well, hold on, that's not me. I don't do that. And she said, huh? And she said, look, men do this. And I go, well, hold on, I don't do those things. And she said, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. And that's really important for people to understand. It's just because somebody says somebody does this and that group may include you. If you're not performing those actions, then you have nothing to be insecure about. But if you happen to be performing those actions and you're upset about that, yeah, they're talking about you. Oh,
You
Christ.
have no right to complain. That's the message, and it starts very young.
That was his take.
What up, Zero?
Aaron, at first I was
Hey,
confused
dude, there's
about
dicks
Tucker's
in all
PBS
races,
show
bro.
too, but then I remembered his dad was CEO of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting back in the mid-1990s. So Daddy wasn't the boss when Tucker got his show, but it couldn't
Exactly,
have hurt little Nepo baby.
Yes. Tucker grew up so privileged that I bet his dad's friends still refer to him as a fine young man, even though he's currently old enough for the senior discount at Denny's.
Tucker eventually turned down a contract renewal at PBS in 2005, saying it was because he wanted to focus on his new MSNBC show and also because he hated government spending.
Over at MSNBC, Tucker hosted
Good
a forgettable
Lord, look
panel
at that
show
video.
that was canceled in 2008 due to the fact that nobody watched it due to the fact that it sucked. In the meantime, he was on season 3 of Dancing with the Stars in 2006, where he was the first contestant eliminated after dancing the cha-cha in a
That's
manner
interesting, Liz.
most expected. I apologize in advance for this, Alyssa.
My name is Tucker Carlson. I'm a journalist.
Oh,
When I
no.
first got the call about doing this, I thought,
Oh,
they must be
no.
calling the wrong guy.
Oh,
My dance experience
no.
consists of drinking too much at a couple of rehearsal dinners. I have total confidence. I think of myself as a cha-cha master.
Dude, what is that? What is going on here? Holy shot!
All the problems started as soon as you stood up.
Oh, dude.
It was dreadful.
Oh, snap.
An awful
Oh!
mess. Fred.
See, this is what I'm saying. Guys, I think sometimes y'all don't realize that you are creating monsters, all right? Tucker Carlson was so ready. He was like, bro, I'm going to kill this. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to get up there. I'm going to dance my ass off, and the world's going to find out that Tucker Carlson's got moves, okay? Tucker Carlson was like the great white hope. He was like, bro, I'm going to get up there and show people white people can dance. And then these judges just shit on him. They created a monster. You guys wonder how Tucker became Tucker, and these two young women, one of them looks like she might be a little bit past 30. Okay, all right, but I'm not. Oh God, where did I go? These two beautiful, amazing women. How did I get here? Are bringing to light the origin story of a literal villain. Oh my God! Don't judge me, guys. Don't judge me for that. Eagles, baby! K9!
ABC's hair and makeup team
How about that draft K9?
The Princess Di hairdo for his intro video.
Yeah, whenever I witness a man who is that bad at dancing, I cannot help but feel terrible for his wife. Tucker stuck around MSNBC.
Half the chat just left after I called that woman
for a
not
while
young.
Before he was offered a Fox News contract in 2009.
I'm sorry.
Just like Dad.
Tucker was 2/3 of the way to the impressive achievement of having shows canceled by all three major cable news networks, a.k.a. the Pundit Triathlon, the Hack EGOT, if you will. But he'd find a home at Fox News in 2009, and the network turned out to be a perfect chrysalis into which Tucker could, like a fat libertarian caterpillar, completely liquefy himself and emerge transformed into a fringe lunatic butterfly with wings festooned with Confederate flags and the Stormfront logo.
Nice.
Fox News of the Obama years. The milkweed field of the far-right agenda.
Maybe that's giving Roger Ailes too much credit.
And not long after, Tucker launched the Daily Caller, a right-leaning website that got most of its funding from a crusty old dickwad named Foster Freeze.
The pride and or shame of Rice Lake, Wisconsin, my neck of the woods, a right-wing lunatic who once gave $250 million to Rick Santorum's failed 2012 presidential campaign, and also once told Andrea Mitchell that the best birth control was a woman putting an aspirin pill between her knees. What a creep.
Back in my days, they used bare aspirin for contraceptives. The gals put it between their knees, and it wasn't that costly.
Oh, what? Okay. I'm going to guess he's trying to... I'm guessing he thinks he just made a joke. I'm guessing he's saying... Women need to keep their legs closed. That's the way to do it. Jesus Christ. Like, you guys are like, we're not misogynists. And then that shit's funny to you. Holy shit.
It's okay. He's dead now. Anyway, media critic Jack Schaefer once called the Daily
that's what I'm
Caller's
saying. Like, what the
investigative work,
fuck?
Quote, bad journalism and lame propaganda. Visitors to the Daily Caller website could peruse such sections as teacher sex.
It's like when you guys are like, you guys make racist jokes and then you're like, but I'm not racist, bro. Like, bro, if you say racist shit, motherfuckers are going to think you're racist. If you say misogynist shit, people are going to think you're a misogynist. Okay? Like, that's... And there's ways to go about saying, like, oh, sorry, like, I said that shit. It was wrong. My bad. Path of redemption. Perfectly acceptable way to go. But you guys don't do that. You guys go, why is people so upset? I don't get it.
Which were just stories about female teachers having sex with male
Exactly,
students.
Candace. It's just
also
one
boosted
side's
its
fault,
traffic
though.
numbers by featuring slideshows of model Kate Upton.
The Caller got things wrong with fair regularity, which
Patrick,
kind of
you know
undermines
that
the whole point
he
of a
didn't
news
say
website.
that, right?
And sometimes
See,
when
y'all
called out for being
always
wrong,
bring up
they
shit
would refuse
that, like,
to issue
actually
corrections. Once
people-
they published
like,
an
you guys
article
just
claiming
believe
to have
anything
a
you see on the
selfie
internet.
of Congresswoman Alexandria
You know he didn't say that, right?
Ocasio-Cortez, when they had no such photo.
Fuck, you
and
guys
were in
are
fact
bad.
pouring for clicks.
Dude,
The
I will
Caller
admit
also
when he
got
says
caught
shit that is
allegedly
dumb.
paying some
And yet you
Dominican
guys
woman
come
to
on
say
here
that she'd
and
had
say
sex
dumb
with
shit
New
that he
Jersey
didn't.
Senator Bob Menendez for a story they published just
Jesus
days before the
Christ.
2012 election.
Come on,
See,
Patrick.
that's like the one thing that now embattled New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez
Go look up the
definitely
clip.
Didn't do.
Go look up the
there are
clip.
so many other things you could have written about him doing.
A litany.
And it was at the Caller that Tucker first got met with approval for hating immigrants. He met then Hill
And don't go
staffer
look
and
up
future
Tucker
Trump
Carlson's
aide
clip of
Stephen
it.
Miller in
Look up the real
2013,
clip.
And Miller would feed Carlson tips and stories for the site's anti-immigration beat, according to a New York Times profile. And the staff of the Daily Caller was starting to attract a specific, shall we say, ilk. Over the years, several members of the staff were outed for contributing to
that's not what he said.
nationalist publications.
I'm watching a fucking video right now, Patrick. This isn't your show.
Racist and anti-Semitic ideas and attending alt-right rallies in their free time.
I'll look it up afterwards.
Many
How about that?
exhausting and or
I'll show you you're
people,
wrong.
Tucker
But you
seemed to
won't
think
believe
that
it.
making people
It
mad
doesn't matter
was a
even if I
sign
bring
he
it
was
up. You'll
doing
go,
the
no,
right
it's
thing.
not true
A
though.
real pioneer in owning
It's been edited.
libs. Over the next several years, Tucker floated around Fox as a contributor, once falling asleep on a 2013 episode of Fox and Friends.
He's really asleep.
Patrick, tell me one thing Trump did wrong.
Co-hosts right now.
Damn.
But he finally got his big break in 2016 when Tucker Carlson Tonight premiered, not long after Donald Trump's election night victory. Funny enough, Tucker may have had the early rumblings of the Me Too movement to thank.
You don't think
for
that
his
the
shot at
vaccination
primetime.
was a good idea?
Former Fox chief Roger Ailes never really found Tucker to be all that special, but just a few months before the 2016 election, Ailes had been forced out at Fox over credible allegations he was a malignant pervert to the women who worked for him. With Ailes
Oh, James,
out,
I'm
Tucker
asking
got
the
his
Trump
shot
supporters
because
because
the
they have a
Murdoch
hard
family
time
liked
ever
him.
saying
And then
anything that
Tucker's
their
show
cult
moved
leader
from
has
the 9
ever
p.m.
done
slot to
wrong
the
is
coveted
wrong.
8 p.m. slot thanks to the outing of another Fox News sex pest, Bill O'Reilly, whose eponymous show was canceled after he too had to deal with a bevy of sexual harassment lawsuits and a mass flight of advertisers. Wow,
Exactly,
Tucker.
man.
Families have
Exactly.
helped you out
That's what
so
I'm
much
saying.
over the years, and have we ever gotten a thank you?
Rude.
Tucker Carlson
That's a
found
strange thing to
success
say,
by telling
Patrick.
the worst human beings
Motherfuckers
in
are
America
dead.
exactly what they wanted to hear. That
They
their
can't
greed
regret
entitlement
shit.
was justified, that immigrants were coming here to outbreed and replace white people, that left-wing woke-topians were turning once great American cities to shit. Everything was scary. Best stay in your basement, locked up with your guns and your Fox News on the big screen, where Tucker Carlson, middle-aged boy king of frozen seafood and also somehow understander of the plight of the average American, would explain to you how to best...
I love that y'all think that stuff. I like that you guys say things like Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump are just like you. Like, you are nothing like Tucker Carlson or Donald Trump, except for you guys all spew the same shit. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that you guys have in common with Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump is that you believe, no, I'm wrong, because I don't think they believe that stuff. I don't think Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson believes that stuff. I think you guys believe the stuff they say, and they don't believe the stuff they say. They just know they can make a lot of money off of you by saying it. So, actually, I'm wrong. Mid-sentence, decided I was
Let's
wrong.
proceed from the safety of your red state exurb.
Boy King of Frozen Seafood is the best description of him that has ever been made in the history of America.
Thank you so much.
Just had to say it here first.
Turns out an apple a day doesn't cut it. To be healthy, we need 5 cups of fruits and vegetables every day. That's 35 cups a week. Even that many vegetables. That's why I started taking Field of Greens by Brickhouse Nutrition. Field of Greens is whole organic
Field of Greens,
fruits and
guys.
vegetables.
Field of Greens.
Carlson's Fox News tenure was somehow both stupid and evil, but at least he kept it exciting with the occasional random freak out about
Dude,
candy
that was
mascots
amazing.
becoming less fuckable, gender-neutral gingerbread men, and the nationwide epidemic of babies.
M&Ms will not be satisfied until every last cartoon character is deeply unappealing when you're totally turned.
Dude, come on! You've got to admit, like, whether you're on the right, the left, you're independent, whatever, hearing a dude talk about a cartoon character not being sexually appealing is kind of strange, okay? Like, it's not something that really should concern you. It's not something that, like, should ever enter your mind. Wow, that Eminem is less sexy now. You gotta admit, it doesn't matter if you're a Trump supporter or not. You should be able to say that's weird. If you can't, there's something wrong.
Turned off, we've achieved equity. They've won.
They just don't like women. Really? Who hates women? I've never met anyone who hates women.
Not yet.
Most men actually really like women.
That's how
So
the
much
world
of
would
this
be
you
different
don't
if it
know.
weren't for humans.
You pretend that you know, but you don't know, and you
gotta
bully
disagree
people
with you,
who
sir.
ask
I
you
really
questions.
have to disagree with you. I spent a lot of time with this topic.
I'm open-minded. You are not. Has Putin ever?
Dude, that's my favorite part about conspiracy theorists. That is my favorite part. I will literally sit here and say, if you can show me something, we'll look at it. And I will even admit, oh, okay, somebody will show me COVID studies. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe we should look into that. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe we should look into that. Yet if I show something to a conspiracy theorist, they go, no, dude, you don't understand. Like, you're wrong and you're brainwashed. And I'm like, hold on. Who here actually has a gray area? I do. Because I'm telling you, like when it comes to the COVID vaccine, I say all the time, we'll see. 5 years, 6 years from now, we'll see some results. We'll get some meta-analysis. We'll have studies done by lots of different people. We'll be able to look at it. But on the other side, because no, it's wrong. It was bad. It didn't do anything. Conspiracy theorists always think they're open-minded, but they're the most closed-minded people that have ever existed. I can literally sit there and go, oh, okay, I hear what you're saying. Hey, we should probably look at this study that I brought in. How about this one? What do you think about this one? And they go, it's wrong. It's wrong. Everything about it's wrong. They're brainwashing you. I have never met a conspiracy theorist that we have had any type of conversation where I sit there and go, okay, let me look at what you got. Oh, okay, I see that. Oh, all right, like there's some questions that could be asked. I see what you're saying, some things that possibly could, lead to an hypothesis. Okay, let's look at my study. And they go, oh, yeah, there's some things also. No, every single time it's nothing about that is right. Everything is wrong. I know the truth. I'm an expert on the economy. I'm an expert on climate change. I'm an expert on viruses. I'm an expert on war. I'm an expert on politics. You guys don't stop. There's no fucking way you could be an expert on all of these things. It's not possible. And the only reason that you think you are is because you sit on TikTok looking at 20-second clips going, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. I'm an expert.
Or called me a racist? Has he
Thank
shipped
God
every
they're fucking
middle-class
banning
job
that
in my
shit.
town to Russia? Does he eat dogs? These are fair questions, and the answer to all of them is no.
If you were to assemble a list, where would white supremacy be on the list? Right up there with Russia, probably.
Exactly,
White supremacy,
human.
That's the problem.
This is a
I want
hoax.
Magneto
Maybe
powers.
The orange M&M is a secret sexist himself. Maybe he liked the sexy boots. We're going to let NPR get to the bottom of that.
Oh
Thanks, Trey.
Who attacks Bill
It's lifting
Nye Science
season.
Guy?
For Mr. Rogers' sake, I'm glad that they never encountered each other so that Tucker could challenge him to like an MMA match.
I was just going to say that.
From M&Ms to statues of slave owners, no American alive is hornier for imaginary and inanimate objects than Tucker Carlson. He is so rock hard for statues that when Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth called for a national dialogue on removing statues honoring slaveholders, he called her a moron and a coward. He characterized her military service as, quote, serving with the Illinois National Guard.
Fact check. Tammy Duckworth lost both of her legs while serving in Iraq.
Damn!
Tucker Carlson tonight featured so many stories delivered with...
Come on, guys. Like, you're supposed to be on the right. You're supposed to be respecting the military. You guys have always been the party of the military. Oh, military is like, even if you didn't support war, you still supported military. And this person lost both their legs in Iraq, and y'all are like, fuck her. Lying ass. I hate that lady. Why? She's trying to take down statues of traitors. Like, that's like, you guys are so mad that they wanted to take down a fucking statue of a traitor to the country that you would literally shit on a lady that went to war for you so you can have the First Amendment rights to say the dumb shit you do, and she lost both her legs and you're mad at her. You guys are insane. Like, I've said this a million times before. One of the things that I've harped on about the left was the way that they treated Vietnam vets when they came back. Like, I don't agree with what happened in Vietnam, but I deeply disagree with treating people the way that we did on the left when they came back from Vietnam. Okay? Like, I'm just asking for some type of fucking consistency here, guys. Jesus Christ.
The finesse of a frat paddle. And given Tucker's delight in making people mad, like a bratty child who happens to be in his 50s, we're not going to repeat too many of them here. Some of them, like his parroting of the Great Replacement theory and playing footsie with other far-right paranoid fantasies, could be downright dangerous. But minimizing the military service of a double amputee Purple Heart veteran turned U.S. Senator was particularly embarrassing for him.
Dude, Patrick. One person, two people came out as transgender, and you're like, whole military's fucked! Bro, we're done! Dude, that is the most moronic shit I've ever heard in my life. And as a person that's almost entire fucking family is military, I'm gonna tell you, you're a fucking moron, okay? So fuck you, fuck your opinion, fuck the dumb shit you believe. There's absolutely no place anywhere in this society for people that have these dumb fucking opinions if we wish to progress. Fucking read a book, dog! Read a book!
Him, a guy who
I'm not
gets
gonna
off
talk
the
to you
impression
anymore until you
that
read
he
a book.
checks with the server first to make sure the hummus isn't too spicy.
Meanwhile, Tuck continued to be awfully cozy with people who palled around with the white nationalists, including his longtime head writer, Blake Neff, who resigned after CNN's Oliver Darcy exposed Neff's long and prolific history of posting
exactly.
racist
Patrick's
and
like, if we
sexist
could just
garbage
be like
online,
Russia.
Anonymously, of course.
But Tucker Carlson has never met anybody who hates women.
Ever.
Anyway, yeah, no, never. Fox News, where the bravery is as authentic as the spray tans. And speaking of phonies, we know Tucker had an increasingly strained relationship with the truth.
Patrick,
throughout his
you
career.
have nothing,
Lies and
dog.
exaggerations
You got
got him
zero.
attention and attention.
Zero.
He gets attention. And
Just
that worked out great
bullshit.
for him.
That's all you got.
Sometimes it didn't.
Talk about
In
legislation,
2018,
Patrick.
for example,
What do you
a
think's
group
wrong with
called
the with the
Smash
Chips
Racism
and
DC
Science Act, Patrick?
protested
Tell me
outside
what's
of
wrong with the
Carlson's
Chips and
house,
Science Act.
spray painting his driveway and generally causing a disturbance. Carlson claimed that one of the protesters cracked his door, except that last thing didn't happen, according to both the police and eyewitnesses.
In 2020, Tucker's awkward cha-cha
course
with
it
facts
didn't.
almost landed him in trouble. As he was
These
sued
people
for
don't
slander
fact-check
for
anything.
accusing former Playboy model Karen McDougal of extorting Donald Trump. During that trial, Fox News' lawyers argued
Title
that
IX has
Carlson
nothing
did
to do with
not
the Chips and
slander
Science Act,
McDougal,
Patrick.
despite claiming that false statements were, quote, undisputed
Hey,
fact,
Patrick.
because
Patrick, how are they going to check transgenders their gender before they go and get in the pool to swim? How are they going to check that? Who's going to do it? I want to know. I want to know from your point of view, who is going to do the checking of the genitalia, specifically, Patrick, of children, before they start competing in sports? Who's going to do that? I want to know.
Tucker Carlson does not
Patrick,
state
answer the
actual
fucking
facts,
question,
but
Patrick.
was instead engaging in exaggeration and, quote, non-literal
Who's going to
commentary.
check the gender?
Basically, Fox's
Of children,
lawyers
Patrick.
claimed that any viewer of Tucker Carlson
Yeah, fuck around and find out with my kid.
that Tucker Carlson is full of shit.
I guess, Aaron, that
You
Fox
try and check the gender of my kid, you can be
commentary
checking the
doesn't fit as
fucking
neatly into a square logo as
the
Fox
physical
News.
ailments
They
that
could
you
be
are
friends
going to
and
get
graphic
from it.
designers. I bet they could make it happen. What's even crazier is that after Fox News' lawyers argued that what Tucker Carlson was doing was not in fact news or even facts, a judge agreed.
But
Hold
of
on, what
course,
about HIPAA?
Tucker's most ardent fans
What about
weren't
HIPAA?
paying attention to whether or not his own employer took
Hold
him
on.
seriously as a
HIPAA.
journalist. Again, they were being told what they wanted to hear. Tucker was spoon-feeding them a version of reality that went down nice and easy. After all that
I thought you guys were all about privacy.
Didn't even like Donald Trump that much. In text messages eventually revealed through discovery in the Dominion Voting System's 2023 libel lawsuit against Fox News, Tucker didn't hold back about
Mike
Trump.
Pence for genitalia.
I
Mike
hate
Pence
him
isn't allowed to be in a room with a
passionately,
woman
he texted.
alone.
On January 4th, 2021, Carlson texted somebody that, quote, "We are very, very close to being able to ignore
Hold on.
Trump most nights."
Trump supporters, do you guys believe that? There it is right in front of you. These are his actual text messages. But go ahead. I'm already ready for you. Go ahead and tell me that it was Photoshop. Go ahead and tell me that it was generated by AI. Go ahead and tell me that Tucker Carlson's never said these mean things about the person I like. Tucker Carlson doesn't like Donald Trump. Tucker Carlson is from a fucking background of just saying whatever people want him to say so that way he can make more money and get more popular off of it. Literally hated Donald Trump. And it was understandable. It was understandable. Even if you were on the right, you didn't like Donald Trump because he was a pain in the ass, because he brings the entire party down, because he makes you guys look terrible, because he is literally destroying your Republican Party from the inside out, and you guys are just like, I can't stand up to this guy. There's no way. I don't have the balls to stand up to Donald Trump. Tucker Carlson did. Yeah, he used to be on CNN. Trent, I think you missed that part of the video, but yeah, he used to be on CNN.
I truly can't wait.
Wow. For the first time in my life, I agree with Tucker Carlson. While privately hating Trump and eagerly awaiting his exit from politics, public-facing Tucker
And what
was
Jess is
very
saying
much
is
on
true
the side
too. There's
of the
plenty of
January
women
6th
with
rioters and
elevated
insurrectionists.
testosterone.
On his show, he
Look at
accused the FBI of orchestrating
the
the
girl
attack
in the
as a false
Olympics that
flag
got banned
operation.
because
He
she
later
has
doubled down with
natural
a
levels of
three-part
testosterone.
straight-to-streaming documentary series called Patriot Purge. Nobody serious thought it was good. On Friday, April 21st, 2023, Tucker Carlson signed off his nightly show like it was a regular Friday night. But it would turn out to be his last. The following
No,
Monday,
not everybody
Fox
has to
News
like everybody,
announced
Tommy. I'm
they'd
saying
parted
that.
ways with old
Hold on.
Tucky without
Hold
giving
on.
a reason.
Before we move forward. That's my point, Tommy. You shouldn't like everything about every person. I've said this over and over and over and over again, ad nauseum. The problem that I have with crazy fucking Trump supporters is that they think that there's nothing he does that's wrong. Like, you ask a Trump supporter for one thing he does bad, they can come up with none. Most can come up with none. Patrick came up with one thing he disliked. And the reason he disliked it was because after Donald Trump is no longer president, the left took over that thing. If Donald Trump was still the president, Patrick would have fucking got the jab right along with everybody else. And I call out the hypocrisy on the left as well when I say that people that didn't want to take the jab when it was fucking Donald Trump's COVID vaccine are also hypocritical. But that's the thing is, critical thinking actually means analyzing your own behaviors, analyzing your own thought patterns and saying, oh, I thought this one thing, and then I decided I wanted to think this thing. What changed my mind? Why did it change my mind? Is that acceptable? Is it not acceptable? Is it something that I should look into? And Trump supporters do none of that. They think everything that Donald Trump does is golden. He's never done anything wrong in his life. And there is innumerable amounts of facts to point out that he has done lots of things wrong throughout his entire life and continues to do them. And yet they still sit here and go, dude, he's perfect. No one's perfect. Every time I talk about a book like Ender's Game, people go, you know, Orson Scott Card's kind of an asshole. I'm like, that doesn't surprise me. If I fucking say I like Bill Burr, well, you know, Bill Burr said this one thing that probably you wouldn't agree with. No shit. I can't imagine that this human being is not perfect that I like. That's insane. That's my problem. You can say that there are things that you don't like about a person. That's completely okay. And if you don't, you're in a cult. You're in a cult.
Himself had reportedly learned of the news 10 minutes before the rest of us found out.
100%.
Very cold.
They're tired of talking about him, but they're the one who created it.
Funny. Theories about what was really behind the dismissal were rampant. Some believed that it was due to a lawsuit a former employee had filed against the show in March, alleging an environment of sexism
and on all sides,
anti-Semitism
on all
behind the
sides.
Scenes. In
But
May
nobody
2023,
is as
Media
culty
Matters
as
got
Trump
hold of
supporters.
some pretty incriminating recordings of Carlson.
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of
100%. I think the majority of Trump voters think he's perfect.
I
yes.
just have zero sympathy for them or their culture. A culture where people just don't use toilet paper or forks.
Patrick, do you think that dude was a Biden supporter? Because you realize that guy wasn't an anybody government supporter, right? You do realize that the dude who set himself on fire outside of Trump's trial was a conspiracy theorist. He was a conspiracy theorist.
I'm a bigot. Okay, I'm a bigot. I don't.
Yeah, there's a photograph of him. There's also a photograph of Trump with Epstein,
really
dog.
Heavily into Islam,
so you
really,
agree with me that
sorry,
Trump and Epstein are connected,
like. You can call me a racist.
and Trump went to Epstein's
and
island.
we shall
Thank
call
you
him
for
a
agreeing.
racist.
This isn't anything that I can't hear in a bar in rural northern Wisconsin. Why are you getting paid $1 bajillion to say it?
Actually, he's not in prison for that. He didn't. Warren Jeffs didn't marry underage girls.
No, he's in prison for facilitation
Hold on, Tommy.
of
You're
child
actually
rape.
you actually form full sentences and have been coming in here and having conversations for a long time. So I'll ask you this, Tommy: are you a Trump supporter? And if you're a Trump supporter, tell me some things that Donald Trump did wrong. Do me that favor. First, you gotta tell me if you're a Trump supporter. If you're a Trump supporter, then tell me the things that Donald Trump did wrong. Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago over a fucking property disagreement, Patrick. It wasn't because he was a pedophile. It was because it was over a goddamn property disagreement. He wasn't like, oh, bro, I should get away from this guy. I'm super mad about the things that I know that he does. No, they had a property dispute. And that's why he's no longer friends. Also, you know that thing. Dude,
the hell that means.
That means
he's in prison. He's in prison because he's weird and unpopular. And
James, do me a favor. None of that.
No, he's
young
an
girls.
accessory
I know.
to the rape
I'm
of
talking about
children.
Epstein, and I'm the one who started it. But
Tucker
let's keep
has at
kids
least one daughter,
and sexual
and at
assault
one
out of the
point,
chat,
he got
please,
into an
guys.
altercation in a bar over his daughter, and he threw wine in somebody's
here
face.
you go. Here you go, bud. I'm gonna make an example of this person. Your girl Bryn says you look like a predator, and we don't do that here. See, we don't talk about children. We don't talk about the assault of children like that, my friend. Goodbye. The guy who set himself on fire was proven to be a Trump supporter by his social media and his neighbors, and his car was filled with Trump stickers. There you go. I don't know if that's true. The media only shows the craziest of each side. Neither is the majority. The majority of Trump voters are normal people. I would doubt that that's true, but I'll give it to you, Trent. I will say that I do not know every single Trump supporter, and I've always said this. I think that there are three factions of Trump supporters. I think there are people that in 2016 voted for him because they thought he was going to make a change. If you look at his rhetoric during 2016, it was about bringing jobs back. It was a lot more about like progress in the lower middle class. Obviously, he was appealing to the coal community. And in 2020, 2024, obviously, he has switched to nothing but fear, anger, and hatred. So there are people in 2016 that I legitimately think voted for him because they thought that he was going to make a difference. But then there are two other versions of Trump supporters. One of them are the only R supporters. Those are people that don't know anything about anything, and all they do is vote R when they get it on their ballot. Once again, are those people, do they think he's infallible? Probably not, but they think the Republican Party is infallible, so that's kind of the same thing. And then you go to what is considered the QAnon cult, or just a cult of Trump, because some of these people don't actually belong to QAnon, but QAnon 100% is a cult. Those people, so let me be 100% with my language. Those people that believe that he is some kind of godly figure, that he is perfect, those people are generally the people that I am talking about. So you're right. I should use better language in saying that there are some people that do exist that do believe he is fallible, but I have never encountered them. I have never talked to him. Let's see. It's literally true and goes for people on both sides. There's good people and bad people on both sides. Yeah, and there's insane people and insane people on both sides. But like I said, just like not every day is blue hair transgender Hamas supporter. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, like I said, that's my bad. That's my bad. We know he did, but people were biased. I don't know what you guys are talking about now, so I'm gonna let you guys do your thing.
So it's really interesting to see the humanity that he's willing to extend to somebody else's daughter. Meanwhile, Tucker was promising his fans
that's a good point,
that he had
Daniel.
something big planned. And that something big turned out to be a show on Elon Musk's Twitter.
Patrick, that's the dumbest shit you say. Boosting is people getting fucking boosters because they want to fucking protect their physical health. It's not a cult, you absolute goddamn moron.
The real cause
Jesus
of 9/11
Christ.
was classified, and that the U.S. government had recovered an alien spaceship.
No,
and an
transgender
actual
people are real,
space
Patrick.
alien. Maybe I should have watched this episode.
Wow.
It sounds very interesting.
You're a Canadian,
And he
Tommy.
interviewed an
You don't even
man
count.
Who claimed that he once had a crack cocaine-filled night of sex with Barack Obama.
But after a flaccid
You're too
rollout,
goddamam
it
nice
turns
in
out that
Canada.
Elon
You
Musk's
dismiss
Twitter
the negative
didn't have
things
the
about those you
necessary
support.
technology for
You
Tucker
should
to do what he
dismiss the
wanted
negative
to,
things
even
about the people
with
you
the power
support.
of crack. And
You
so
should be
he
aware of
topped
those
off
things.
And started his own streaming
Damn it,
network.
Tommy.
Oh, gosh, Alyssa, I guess I'm going to have to finally delete Peacock to make room for whatever Tucker's
Look,
streaming
Patrick's like,
service is
check it
called.
out. I got another
the only
conspiracy
noteworthy
theory.
thing Tucker has done since the launch is to travel to Russia to marvel at the coin-operated shopping carts and have Vladimir Putin do absolute donuts across the smooth parking lot that is Tucker's brain.
The good
Highlight,
thing
why
about
is
this
he
interview
better?
is that it gave Jon
Why is he
Stewart
better than Biden?
back home at the Daily
You gotta
Show
tell me
after
why he's
several
better than
years
Biden.
away another chance to dunk on his old Crossfire sparring buddy.
Here's a question for you, Alyssa.
Yeah, exactly,
Given
Daniel.
all
Daniel
we know,
there just said
do we
exactly
think
how I
Tucker
feel
Carlson
about this.
actually believes his own bullshit? Is he high on his own supply?
Aaron, Tucker actually is his own bullshit. I do think he hates.
What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? Do you think at this point Tucker Carlson believes all the bullshit he says? Or do you think that he is just doing it to grift, he's just doing it to make money, he's just doing it to continue to be popular? Which do you guys think? Because I think, me personally, I think he has started to believe his own bullshit. Just like when people say Alex Jones is just a character, he's just a persona, I don't believe that that's completely true. I think guys like Alex Jones, like Tucker Carlson, kind of hide behind the fact that, like, oh, it's like being a comedian. Not everything I say is what I believe. I don't believe that. I think Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones are 100% believing the shit that they say. Let's see. It's been a bloodbath under Biden. No, it hasn't. Oh my God, Patrick. Jesus Christ, dog. I want to have faith. I want to have faith in you. I want to believe that you're a real human. That you're not just a bot. But you sound like a bot, dude. You're just saying the same shit that people have told you to say. Look at it. There he goes. We have record illegal immigration. We're on the verge of a world war. Record high food prices. This is like you're just straight up out of a fucking, like, if they cookie cuttered a fucking conspiracy theorist, you would be that. It has not been a bloodbath. You guys have to actually support that with facts. I've told you guys, sometimes you guys have arguments that you could make based on the things that you believe, but you don't know enough about the things that you believe to make those arguments. If you want to talk about the economy, you could talk about how it has adversely affected the lower middle class. But you guys don't want to talk about that because you don't know anything about it. Because the rest of the economy, when you want to talk about the extremely wealthy, the uber wealthy, the upper middle class, and even the middle class, it has not been a bloodbath. Oh my God. Do you guys know what the fucking 1930s look like? Do you know what an actual recession looks like? Do you know what an actual depression looks like? Do you know what it's like to live in an actual third world country? Or do you just want to sit around and say dumb shit and never actually think about it? If you want to make the argument that something is wrong with the economy, then you should start making the argument that the lower middle class is adversely affected by what's going on in our economy, and that is why they want to vote for Donald Trump. But you don't, because you don't know enough about the shit you believe to actually talk about it. You just regurgitate dumb shit you heard from people on fucking TV.
Hates immigrants and people who look differently or live differently than him. And if the fundamental premise of the GOP today is say whatever you have to scare voters into voting for you,
you've been in here for 5 fucking minutes.
Into tuning
you don't know shit about what I believe.
That is fundamentally who he is. Maybe Tucker started out as a critical thinking, elite, skeptical, contrarian who just
you can't come into my fucking chat and be here for like 5 fucking minutes and then be like, you deny all the things. I've literally been sitting here telling you guys that there's things that I don't believe on my side.
I think he believes that if there's ever a populist uprising,
I don't have a side.
He spent so many years entertaining their victimhood kabuki, the unwashed masses will crown him their king.
Did you say something that was pedophilic?
Okay, I'm just gonna play devil's advocate
because you probably did.
Let's say that no. Let's say no. He doesn't believe his own bullshit. He is the final boss of political.
And if you say it again, I'll block you again, dog.
Exactly what Jon Stewart said he was back in 2004.
I don't fucking play that shit.
He's not a serious man. He is a professional wrestler. He loves playing the heel, sneering at the crowd.
What's that, Frames?
Soaking in their booze.
How's Maryland?
At the end of the night, he takes off his burnt tangerine makeup and goes home and watches House of the Dragon with his wife. Like a normal person.
No, you didn't. No, not unless you
spammed
it.
We
don't fucking ban anybody for saying Trump 2024. You goddamn victim.
Ben Smith reported in 2021 that Carlson was an important
neither one of those
source
things get you
for many
banned in my
authors
chat.
Who wrote Trump critical
Maybe
books.
one of my mods got tired of your
shit,
shit,
double
but
life for
I
so
doubt
long
that.
that
My
he's
mods
convinced himself that he can be all these mutually exclusive things at once. I think he thinks he's outsmarted everybody. But perhaps the best distillation of whether Tucker Carlson is a real guy or an SEO-optimized pastiche of recycled white nationalist talking points comes from baby Tucker.
Bill O'Reilly's success is
built
on the perception that he really is who he claims to be. If he ever gets caught out of character, it's over.
That's right. I say before that Bill O'Reilly's really talented. He's more talented than I am. He's got a lot more viewers than I do. He's a better communicator than I am.
Hold on. Before we get into this, I'm just going to answer something here real quick. Highlight. Do you believe that you are educated enough on the Israel-Hamas situation to have an opinion on something of some value Now, this is important, of some value that you can propose, because I do not believe that I am educated enough on the Israel-Hamas conflict to have anything more than an emotional opinion on what's going on over there. And I have continued to say this over and over again. Innocent people, whether they be in Israel or Palestine, dying because of either a government's hubris or because of terrorist actions are bad. Innocent civilians being killed in any manner for any reason is bad. But if you're going to ask me if I think this side is right or that side is right, you're going to have to give me about 10 to 15 years of scholarly study to actually have an opinion on that. I think that one of the biggest problems with our society right now is that we all want to have opinions on these incredibly complicated topics, and we think that they should have the same value or more value than people that have 10, 20, 30, 40 years of experience in that area. I don't feel like my opinion on that conflict would do anything more than spread misinformation and give voice to things that I don't actually know. Imagine that. Imagine saying, I might not know enough about that subject to comment on it. Imagine. I don't get you people.
Kind of a deep phoniness at the center of his shtick. And again, as I say, the shtick is sort of built on this perception that he is the character he plays. He is every man. This kind of he's not right-wing, he's a populist. This kind of Irish Catholic
Liv, it's not less complicated than I have been led to believe. Liv, that is an incredibly complicated area of the world. I'm not just talking about Israel and Hamas. I'm talking about that area of the world. And a lot of it is complicated because of actions that were taken by the U.S. I know plenty of background information, but for me to sit up here and act like I'm some kind of expert and my opinion has some kind of value, you should support that I don't do that. You can support a person's emotional appeal. That I think that obviously I don't want a war going on anywhere where people are dying. I think that that's terrible. I think that it's inhumane. But you can also agree that I don't know enough about this situation to be able to have a valued opinion on it. We have to get to a point, guys, where we're not just constantly making these things worse and worse and worse and worse to the point where we can't talk to each other about these things. If you want to have a conversation about something like this, I'll tell you what I think. But I know this trap. The moment that I say anything, you're going to jump on it because you don't want to have a conversation. You want to be right. You want to tell everybody about how much more right you are than they are, and they don't fucking know anything, and your position is the best position because you spent 2 hours on YouTube watching a video. I don't want to do that, and I don't think I should be forced to participate in that. I have value for all human beings. I love people. I want to see people succeed. I don't want to see people dying. I want to see people doing things that make them happy. I want to see people having a future. I want to see people thinking optimistically about the rest of the world as well as the world that they live in. And we can't do that as long as people continue to have these crazy conversations where they don't actually want to understand the other side's point of view. They just want to be right. That's not a good place to be. I don't like that.
Populist fighting for you against the powers that be.
Liv, you probably, I'm not saying you don't know. I'm saying you probably know more than I do.
It's over.
Well, Tucker, I guess you're a better communicator than me because that summed it up. Alyssa, on a scale of 1 to 5 weasels, where does he rank?
Aaron, I'm going to give Tucker 3 weasels. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give him 3 weasels because he's just trying too hard. Mm-hmm. I feel like Stephen Miller really lives and breathes his isms, but Tucker's just trying to find the ism that gets the most ratings. So I'm not going to give him the honor of 5 weasels. He's 3 weasels only for me. What about you?
I give him 3 weasels at the moment. I think there was a time earlier in his career where I would give him more weasels than 3 because he would have been more dangerous. But at this point, he just kind of seems like he's yelling into an echo chamber, which isn't really as dangerous as him yelling to people that could possibly be converted. But we'll see, Tucker. Maybe there's another cable network you can get your show canceled off of.
Angel.
And that's all the time we have.
I don't know you well enough to tell you that you don't know something, right? Like we're on the internet. So all I can have is faith that what you say is true.
Election now by heading to votesaveamerica.org.
Shut the fuck up, MW. Nobody cares.
This video, please like, subscribe, and share. You know the drill. And please let us know in comments down below who our next fucking guy should be.
Okay. Here we go. Here you go. This is Reuters. Jesus Christ. I don't have the app for this. Continue without supporting you. Jesus Christ. What is that? See, this is what's wrong with the internet. You know that shit does not happen. A video of U.S. President Joe Biden responding to a reporter has gone viral on social media, with some users claiming he said, "My butt's been wiped." A slowed-down version of the footage, however, shows Biden saying different words in response to the reporter's question. "He's getting worse, folks. God help us all," reads the description from Patrick on YouTube. Some of the comments read, "What is wrong with this guy? This man has no class." Because no one would fucking say that. That's why this is dumb. But, okay, here we go. Around timestamp 38 seconds, a reporter off camera can be heard asking, "Does immigration need to be in reconciliation? Must it be in reconciliation?" Patrick believes at this point, Biden went, "My butt's been wiped." Jesus Christ, do you guys actually ever watch the shit you guys believe? No, you don't. Biden then appears to respond, "What must be what? But what's been what? Not my butt's been wiped," as the Post claims. Oh my God, Patrick. Is this it? Here we go.
What must be what?
What's been what? What's been what? What's been what, Patrick? What's been what, Patrick? Jesus fucking Christ, you're a moron. God damn it, dude. Watch it again. Look, you can hear whatever the fuck you want to hear because your brain's already decided that it says, "My butt's been wiped." Because you're fucking brainwashed, dog. You're brainwashed. Let's watch it again. Look at him. Oh, he has such a hard time walking. He has such a hard time walking, doesn't he, Patrick? Oh, Christ, he's about to die, like right now, Patrick.
President Biden, come to check the infrastructure.
Oh, my God.
What must be what?
My what's been what?
There needs to be a pathway for citizenship, whether
Yeah, and then he goes on to talk, just fucking completely normally. Yeah, it just turns out, Patrick, that just for half a second, he went insane, and then he literally just started talking normal 2 seconds later. You don't have an original thought in your brain. You only have what people have told you to believe. That's it. This is the Hill, dog. It's the Hill. They talk shit about the left. They talk shit about the right. They don't have any fucking skin in this. Jesus Christ, you guys are dumb. Look, are any of these people saying my butt's been wiped? No. They're talking about actual shit. And this is what's wrong with you, Patrick, is people start talking about real things, but you don't. You're so distracted by all the BS that people want you to be distracted by. Look, guys, he's senile. He said my butt's been wiped. When obviously he didn't fucking say that. And obviously it doesn't even make sense for a person to say something completely insane and then just start talking normal 2 seconds later. Jesus Christ, you're dumb. I love these people. Everybody has a sense of moral sensitivity, but political ideology can make you justify almost anything. Exactly, David. Oh, Christ. No, you cannot wipe my butt. I wipe my own butt. Thank you. I do love you guys, though. Patrick, I'm giving you a hard time, Patrick. But I hope, Patrick, that you realize that some of the shit that you believe because you want to believe it. Just like some of the shit I believe. I want to believe. Look, I want the Eagles to be good. They weren't last year. I wanted to. They went 10-1. Do you know what it's like to watch your team go 10-1 and recognize that entire 11-game period that your team is not a 10-1 team? It's hard because you could just live in the moment. All the other Eagles fans would have been like, hell yeah, brother, we're doing great. 10-1? Oh, fuck, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. But you can ask my wife for 11 straight games, even though the Eagles won 10. I was going the whole time. That defense is shit. These coaches are shit. We're fucked. We're going to lose. And guess what happened? Over the next 7 games, the Eagles played the worst football you have ever seen in your life, including losing in the playoffs to Baker fucking Mayfield and the Buccaneers. And I could have sat there and I could have said to myself, it's okay, everything's fine, just be happy, it's going to be beautiful, we're going to win. But I knew we weren't. And sometimes you got to be able to do that. Sometimes you got to be able to analyze your own bullshit and say, I want to believe that, but it turns out it's not true. That's the fucking truth. If it wasn't for the dumb, no president would get elected. Nah, I kind of disagree, third rail. Shut up, MW, nobody cares. President Joe Biden has the worst job approval rating since Eisenhower during his recently completed 13th quarter in office, according to a new poll by Gallup. I wouldn't doubt that. But you have to, once again, that's really reductive. But why? Do you think that there's a complex amount of complicated factors that have led to that, including dumbass people that believe he said something like, my butt's been wiped on camera? Do you think that that's potentially part of that poll? Do you also agree that not all polls are perfect? I mean, there is so much to these discussions, and you guys want to boil it down and reduce it like to fucking, there's this one poll that says this thing, so automatically he's a bad president. What about the fact that he was judged by political historians to be potentially the 11th best president in the history of the United States, and Donald fucking Trump was considered to be worse than Franklin fucking Pierce? Do you know who Franklin Pierce is? Do you know how much of a slight it would be to be a president that was considered worse than Franklin Pierce? No, you don't, because you don't know shit about what you're talking about. You're stuck on my butt's been wiped, dog. I think your butt needs to be wiped. And maybe your brain, too. Holy shit. Fuck. There's no shot that true? Look it up, MW. Look it up, dog. You got Google. Exactly, Candace. People on the left would have made fun of him. Everybody would have. Where were we at 4 years ago today? Exactly. And lastly, I identify the greatest concern surrounding illegal immigrants. Americans most frequently cited increased crime rates, drugs, and violence. You know that illegal immigrants commit crime at like a fucking 1-to-4 ratio over citizens? Do you know who increases the crime rate in America? Americans increase the crime rate in America. Jesus Christ. But you don't know anything about it. You're just literally copy-pasting shit in the chat to try and make it look like you're smart. You can't copy-paste something if you can't comprehend what those things mean. You have to be able to analyze the actual information that you're posting, and you can't. You're incapable. Oh, Christ. Let's go ahead and talk about Trump supporters getting scammed by True Social, because you guys don't know shit about the fucking stock market.
Is there anything more classic than Donald Trump extracting money from his foolish followers? This guy falls under the same umbrella as people like Joel Osteen, who are just
exactly, man. But they don't want to talk about that.
We have one of the most egregious examples. This is
dude, it's Reuters.
But I was on.
Come on, you're crying about Reuters?
I've been dreading this post for a while now, but I finally must admit that I've lost a substantial portion of my life savings investing in the DJT Donald Trump stock. I was unable to continue this.
How many of you guys bought Donald Trump stock? I wish I had that book, the book right now. It's by Benjamin Graham. It's called The Intelligent Investor. If you don't read a book like The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, or you do not do research on the level of that book, do not invest in the stock market. Dude, you are the same people that propped up GameStop. Y'all are the same people that fucking put a shit ton of money into stocks that had absolutely no lifeblood at all. And you guys were like, stocks just go up, dog. Rocket Man! Jesus Christ, if you don't know how the stock market works, do not buy stocks. Because if you thought Donald Trump's fucking True Social was worth more than like $2 then you don't know shit about the stock market. Good God, I actually feel bad for this guy.
Slide and sold the majority of my stake this afternoon at $26.55 per share. This is a disastrous fall, resulting in a loss of nearly $450,000 of my retirement savings. I am now forced to return to the workforce at age 76. Please, family, learn from my mistake and do not put everything into one stock. On one hand, this is one of the most depressing things I've ever heard. But on the other hand, it's like, really, dude? You put your life savings into a Donald Trump stock? You've never heard of the word diversify? This dude's name is Donesco Patriota, and I actually went through his True Social account to see if he was being serious.
Exactly, Third Rail. The smartest thing you could do is get in that fucking Nancy Pelosi message group.
For answers on my DJT investment, I need time to myself. Family won't talk to me before commenting on the stock. For anyone in the media, fake or not, that would like to discuss my new Kindle book, Biden's Last Shit in the Oval Office, please contact me. All right, this guy is literally just an idiot. I don't even want to know how many copies of the Trump Patriotic Bible
Stop pissing off woke, dog.
I think what makes this even more painful is that the Trump media True Social
you're gonna get banned again.
Up to $41.50, which means this dude sold at the absolute low, then had to watch it go back up and return to prices near where he bought in. That means that this guy lost.
And do you guys even know what a pump and dump stock is? Do you guys realize that during COVID, while everybody was sitting at home watching Netflix, getting Uber Eats delivered to their door, getting stimulus checks, making more money on unemployment than they ever made in their life, which all of this was the worst time these people have ever been through in their entire life because they had to wear a mask, okay? They were forced to wear a mask, and they're like, it was the hardest time I've ever been through. Yes, it's so fucking soft. But do you realize that people decided that they were going to invest, that they were going to game the stock market, they're going to figure this shit out, all because some dudes gamed GameStop. And all of these people got so wrecked by joining the stock market, and then like 3 or 4 dudes created a Discord and got these people to join the Discord and then pump and dumped on their faces over and over and over again to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. You guys have no idea what is going on. When a stock goes from 70 to 26 and then starts rising back to 40, guess what's going to happen, guys? Shorts are going to buy it. This is why literal Truth Social was putting out fucking warnings to their stock owners going, watch out, do not let people buy your fucking stocks to short them. That's what they're going to do because the stock is not worth $40. And this is not financial advice. People are going to short that stock and they are going to make $1 bajillion off of it. Holy Christ. And you guys are going to be sitting there going, I did the smartest thing a person could do.
His life savings, and if he would have just held on for a day or two, he would have been fine. And I've been there. I've sold stocks at the absolute bottom. It is incredibly
At this
painful.
point, I
That's
think it's
why
hilarious
you just need to
that
put your
Woke's
money
just
in
fucking
SPY
banning
or an ETF that is safe and has a guaranteed return
Oh,
of 7%
God.
every year. But that's besides the point.
This would be a
Donald
running
Trump
fucking
repeatedly
joke at one
grifts
point.
off of his followers, who are factory workers or mechanics or teachers or even construction workers. And we know for a fact that Donald Trump likes to
MW,
scam
100%
construction workers
guarantee you
and not
are
pay them
softer
what
than
he
I've ever been
promised.
since I was
Over and
like
over, we see
2,
the
dog.
working class take the hit so that
Since
Donald
I was
Trump
in the
can
crib.
continue his lavish lifestyle. But I think
My
what makes me the
10-year-old's
most
harder
mad
than
is
you
that
are, dog.
Republicans like to gaslight their followers, their constituents,
Oh,
into
shit.
thinking that any sort of tax increase will hurt the average person. So if Joe Biden introduces a plan for people who make over $400,000 to be taxed more, Republicans will immediately start to tell their fan base that, oh, this is going to affect you. You need to vote against Joe Biden, even though it only affects them. It affects
My
people
10-year-old's
like
got a
Donald
gold
Trump,
in
people
Kuk
who are
Suwan.
bringing
You
in
got a
all
gold?
this money, but the average working class person is convinced that Joe Biden wants to hike up their taxes, which makes no sense. Watch this clip of me at a Trump rally where I talk to multiple Trump supporters who tell me how much they've spent on Donald Trump. This one dude says he spent $1 million. Watch this clip.
We the people got to open our eyes, open our wallets.
All right, hold on. Do you guys believe this guy has $1 million? Do you? I'm gonna go with this dude's line. He's wearing a shirt with flames on it. There is nobody other than Guy Fieri that owns a shirt with flames on it that I would believe has more than $1 million. No fucking way.
Stand at your polling stations and make sure that they're not cheating us again.
MW, you
I mean,
couldn't
you're
have
talking to
survived
probably the
10
number
minutes
one
in my
Trump
childhood,
guy.
dog.
I mean, I probably put $1 million into Trump, but I've never made a
Oh, this
cash
guy.
donation.
Okay.
Wow. I drive
Okay,
this
this
bus
guy has $1
around as a
million.
rolling billboard. It's my part-time
Meh.
hobby.
Meh.
I go to rallies. I meet great people. I give out free stuff.
Have you seen a return on that $1 million? Or is it like you've sunk it into Trump?
I sunk it into, taking this bus off the road for almost 8 years.
Wow.
When I talk to people and I say, you're much better off now than you were during Trump. Well, just think about one thing, not all the other things. I've lost 3 businesses during this bullshit. I had 4 businesses. I'm down to this business, my bus business. My bus business, during
Hold
COVID,
on,
I almost
what?
lost my bus business. I lost 3 other businesses. I had a restaurant for 25 years. Biden shut that down.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Everything 3 times more expensive.
Trump is in jail. Next slide.
Okay, actually, I think I could have a conversation with that guy. Do you guys see? Like, there are people at times that you can have a conversation with. That guy would probably be one of them.
Election, do you still vote for him?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll even send him $50 for his bond.
That guy probably not.
Yep.
He's a billionaire, though. You could give him money?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sure you have,
Donald Trump is
MW.
out
Sure
there
you have.
convincing working class people to give the
I
last
love
bit of
that
their
you think
paycheck
that.
to him.
Good for you,
in hopes
dog.
that they'll see a return on it in the stock market or just see him back in the White
Bro,
House.
you would-
But it
you-
seems like
you would have
neither of those
opted
things
out
will
at about
happen for
4
people that are giving their money
in my
to
life.
Trump. The even more egregious part is that Trump is getting absolutely filthy rich off of this stock. This NPR article reads, former President
Dude, my
Trump is
sister's
set
done
to
more
get
prison time than you have.
$1.2 billion richer, at least on paper, and unrealized gains. The windfall comes
My
thanks to
sister's
being
harder than
rewarded
you'll
with an
ever be.
additional 36 million shares in Trump Media and Technology Group,
Holy
the company
shit.
behind his Truth Social app. The shares are a bonus provided to him after Trump Media traded above a certain level for a set number of days. Trump met that criteria at the close of trading on Tuesday. The new shares raise his stake.
And I already brought this up. I have a theory that Donald Trump, knowing that he gets this windfall, found a way to artificially prop that stock up by getting people within his circle to purchase it. Because you know that's how a pump and dump works, right? Is you get people to purchase a stock by telling them it's about to go through the roof, right? So you tell them that's what's going on. They buy a bunch of the stock. As soon as it hits what you believe is the high, that's when the dump comes in. These guys sell all their shares off, and then you're the one left holding the bag. That's what those 3 dudes got in trouble for. The funniest thing about that was I actually had all 3 of these guys followed on Twitter and was watching them do this shit the whole time. And I was like, dude, that seems shady as fuck. They'd be like, no, you guys just got to get on this one. This one right here is going to go through the roof. I've got inside information, blah, 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 blah. And every time I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll just stick with the stuff that I like to do. And I shit you not, 2 years later, they're on trial for pump and dump schemes. This seems, I'm not saying that's what this is going, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like it got artificially propped up so he could take this $1.2 billion windfall, which kind of comes and goes depending on the price of the shares or whatever. And I'm telling you, if you are holding the bag on some Trump stock at $41 a share, and that drops to $2 a share, first of all, for the shorts are going to make $39 a share off that. If you're holding that bag, you are going to lose a lot of fucking money. A lot of money.
In Trump media to 115 million shares, boosting the entire net worth of his holdings in the company to $3.7 billion. Yet Trump would never give a single penny to the guy at the beginning of the video who lost his life savings. Trump would not piss on that guy if he were on fire. Sometimes it feels like Trump's
he made another account
to the White House was a long grift that went too far. In 2016, he grifted his way into the White House, and even while he was leaving, while he was...
Third rail, do you know who Adam Mockler is? You don't, do you? You do know that he comes on here and actually tries to talk to Trump supporters. And you know that he does try to actually have conversations with them. You are doing the same thing that you accuse other people of. You are assuming that this young kid is just out here mocking people. His last name is Mockler, I understand. But Adam Mockler is one of the few people that I do watch that does attempt to have conversations with Trump supporters to attempt to reach them. So you can come in here and you can say somebody like Jordan Klepper is making fun of and mocking people. You can say that the Good Liars are trolling people. You can say that, the Hysteria podcast is just making fun of the right. But you can't say that about Adam Mockler. You should recognize that. I'm only telling you that because I think you should recognize that. Adam Mockler has real conversations with people and tries to talk to them. And you should actually be encouraging that. Specifically, if you think that people don't have enough discussions with Trump supporters on the right that aren't completely fucking crazy.
Trying to stop that peaceful transfer of power.
What up, Great Bill?
He was grifting his way out by making claims of massive, widespread voter fraud across all of these different swing states. And he knew that this voter fraud claim was not true because people around him, people like Mike Pence, people like Bill Barr, people like his kids.
Dude, you got to ask yourself
there's not any voter
what
fraud.
Highlight's life looks like.
all of this money to take
Highlight
courts, this court, that court.
Bro, you keep going. You like getting shit on.
Penny of his own money while he
you are
woke
biatch at this point.
Bankrupt themselves trying to prove that this election
you
fraud
got a serious domination issue.
I think Mike Lindell genuinely got swept up into Trump's lies and believes that there was massive, widespread voter fraud. That's why he was willing to bankrupt himself. But Donald Trump knows for a fact that there was no voter fraud. So,
third rail, though. Answer what I just said, though, dog. Answer what I just said. I don't care if you're neutral. Just answer what I just fucking said. Are you assuming that this person is doing something that they're not based off of like 5 minutes of watching him fucking talk to people? You gotta answer the question, dog. Don't come in here and say, oh, this person is completely screwing over these people. He sucks because of this. When you're wrong, that's not what he's doing. And then avoid the question. Do you know who Adam Mockler is? And do you know that this is what he does? He has real conversations with people. You can say that black people should avoid politics. I think that that's stupid, and we can debate that. Saying I avoid politics because I'm African American is quite possibly the worst fucking mistake you could make. The only way that you're going to have any type of say in what happens in society is to get involved in politics. That doesn't mean you have to support people you don't like. That means you should find people that you do. People that do represent your values and vote for those people. Or go out and be an activist for those people. But you shouldn't fucking say, I'm not joining. I'm not joining. I'll just be a victim. I'll just sit here and say, like, fucking everything's bad, the world sucks, but I'm not going to vote. Tell that to blacks in blue states. I'm in California, dog, and I grew up with black people. All right? Like, Jesus Christ. I agree with you, Third Rail. I agree with you that the African-American community, whether it's under the left or the right, has plenty to complain about. Plenty about being left behind. Plenty to complain about when the Democrats say that they're going to take care of certain things and then they don't follow through. If you just saw what Charles Barkley said the other fucking day, Charles Barkley came out and said, and Charles Barkley is a liberal, Charles Barkley came out and said, the Democrats have failed African Americans. And I agree with that. I agree with that. There is plenty of things on the left that we still need to get together. There are still things that people need to follow through on. But you also can't discount that the right blocks a lot of the shit that the left tries to do for African Americans. The right wants to cut legislation. The left wants to include legislation. And they're supposed to find some kind of balancing act between the two, and they've never found the proper balancing act for marginalized communities. That's true. The very party you voted for is doing this to us. The numbers showed we owned more business, homes, education the first 100 years after. That's a Soel quote. You're a Soel follower. I see. There's a lot that Thomas Sowell says that isn't true. But no, a no vote is not a vote. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're dodging responsibility, dude. You're dodging responsibility and you're dodging accountability, and your community's suffering for it. You should find people that represent your values, that have followed through for the African American community. That's who. Charles Barkley and Trump have the same golf swing. That is not even false. And Charles Barkley would fight me for that shit. Jesus Christ.
So he relied on these super PACs. He relied on donations from his followers. Ever since Donald Trump got elected, it's been obvious that the people who support him the most will also suffer the most when a scam comes crashing down. Whether that's politically or financially or socially, these people are
Donald Trump ain't better.
of it. And that's why it's going to be all the more cathartic when Donald Trump finally does get convicted of one of these charges, because he's kind of gone by unscathed until now, and he's finally seeing the consequences of his actions. He's always looking incredibly beat up and tired, and his eyes are always super bloodshot because he has to fly from courtroom to campaign and then go back and sit in a cold courtroom and listen to all of the crimes he's committed. And this is only the first trial. We also have trials with some way bigger crimes that he committed. I think some of that election interference
we haven't even
stuff,
gotten to the good ones.
January 6th stuff is way crazier, and I can't wait until we get there. Not only is this detracting from his campaigning, but we'll see prosecutors like Jack Smith laying out all of the evidence in a very clean fashion, and the general public will finally fully understand the crimes that Trump committed, because now people just vaguely know these words about hush money.
But Trump supporters will never admit he did anything. Never did anything. Yeah, not voting is not a vote. I'm going to keep telling you guys this. Everybody wants to complain about how things are, and then they tell you that they don't vote. Everybody wants to complain about how things are, and then when you bring up like policy, when you bring up legislation, they don't know anything about it. And that's understandable. There's a lot of shit out there that's really complicated and complex, and it's hard to understand, and it takes a lot of time. Specifically, if you're like a middle-class person, and you have your both parents are working 40+ hours a week. You got 2 kids. You got bills to pay. You got a boss that's constantly on your ass. It's not easy to be educated on all of these things, and that's probably one of the biggest problems in our society right now. Is that people don't have a ton of time that isn't what they want to spend. Like, okay, let me put it this way. Sorry. People have time away from work and parenting, and they choose to use it to do things that they enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that unfortunately leaves very little time for people to become educated to things that affect their life. And we need to get to a point in our society where families don't have to consistently be working all the goddamn time to make sure that their children are supported, to make sure that their home life is healthy and stable, and then also be able to educate themselves to things like legislation or policy values, to then vote for people properly that are going to potentially, and I say potentially, make their lives better. Because obviously, there's a lot of politicians that lie. There's a lot of politicians that say that they're going to do stuff. The point that the Democrats have made promises for African American communities and haven't followed through on them is true. But that can be said about the right, that can be said about the left, that can be said about libertarian candidates. So you really need to get into why. So is it because the right is blocking a lot of this legislation? Is it because African Americans aren't represented enough in politics? So you don't want to vote. So get involved, join up, run for office. That Frost kid in Florida doing a great job. Who's the girl that just fucking murdered MTG? God damn it, I can't remember her name right now. Over the Russia shit. That young black woman doing a great job. That's why diversity is necessary in politics. You need people that work every job. You need people from every ethnicity and culture. You need people from different religions. I know you guys hate to say that. I have tons of things that I disagree with when we talk about the Muslim religion's more difficult portions. But they deserve representation because there's a lot of Muslims that are good people. There's Christians that are good people. There's atheists that are good people. But if we don't have diversity in our political sphere, then those people don't get represented. And when you have this Frost kid doing what he's doing in a place like Florida, that actually gives you hope that maybe one day you'll be able to see legislation getting passed that has real, visible effects on the African American community. I think that Jasmine Crockett. Thank you, Spiken. Jasmine Crockett she's amazing. Amazing. I don't understand this pessimistic doomerism bullshit. And I'll tell you why it exists. Steven Pinker in his book Enlightenment wrote about this. And that human beings evolved to be inclined to doomerism. So as we evolved, like survival has been this incredibly important thing, obviously. But you didn't have to worry so much about being happy. You had to worry more about how it could end. And that's why things like religion exist, because you need some type of buffer between you and the end. Something to tell you that everything's going to be okay. But if you spend your whole life worrying about how bad it's going to end, you never get to live your fucking life. And humans have evolved to have this inclination towards that doomerism, because you're always thinking about the negative effects. You're never thinking about positive effects. But we've evolved so far, society has evolved so far, we've gotten all these amenities, all this technology, that it's time for us to stop worrying so much about how it's going to end and worrying more about what we're getting out of it now. We need more optimism. We need more hope. That's why fucking Obama was so popular. We need hope. We need optimism. We need faith. We need grace. And when I say those things, I don't mean religiously. I'm not hating on religious people for having faith and grace. But I think that in the religious area, some of the craziest shit I've ever seen is the fact that they talk about faith and grace and they don't employ it enough. Faith in your fellow man, faith in humanity, faith in the politicians that you do vote for that do get shit done. Grace for people that are imperfect and flawed and make mistakes. We need more of that. We need to be able to move forward with our society and be happier, more hopeful, and have good fucking lives. But you can't do that by constantly dodging accountability. And when you say, I'm not going to vote because my vote doesn't matter, you are dodging accountability. You are foregoing your responsibility. Because people like MTG and Lauren Boebert exist because a bunch of trailer park motherfuckers were like, I want somebody that looks like me. Frost exists because of people saying, I want somebody that has my values in that office. That kid broke fucking records to be there. And he's there. And he potentially could be somebody that you could invest in. Even AOC. Everyone on the right wants to talk about how dumb AOC is and how bad AOC is. People voted for her because they liked her policies, because they like what she represented. Whether or not you agree with AOC or not, you have to say that somebody out there said, my vote does matter, and I got her in there. Fucking George Santos! You think Frost is a joke? Third rail. That's because you don't agree with his politics, dude. There's an issue there. That's an issue. You don't like a young black man that's doing a fucking strong job, that's representing for everybody, not just his people, but all people. You think he's a joke? Why is he a joke? My guy. You're drinking the doomerism Kool-Aid. You gotta get out the doomer cult, big guy. You a preacher and you got that kind of pessimism in your life? Fuck, dog. I would hope that a preacher would be a more positive person. Do please explain. Do please explain. You guys all want to talk about something while Third Rail is thinking about why he hates Robert Frost. Is it Robert Frost? I think that's the author. I just fucked up his name. I think that's a poet. I want to talk about something. Speaking of preachers, you notice people don't ever listen to motivational speakers anymore? Like, I came up listening to Les Brown, to fucking, what's that guy's name? Terrence Thomas? Eric Thomas, Les Brown. Who's the white guy? Like, I don't even listen to him anymore. Fucking Tony Robbins. We used to have these people that people were like, they're grifting off of motivating you. Their positivity. Like, that used to be considered a grift. Going out and telling people that they could do shit. Going out and telling people, like, stay positive, have a good mindset, work hard. Like, that used to be considered, like, people would walk in while I was listening to Les Brown preach about shit. I'm pretty sure Les Brown's a preacher, too. And they'd go, why are you listening to this brainwashing bullshit? I'm like, you can brainwash me to be positive and happy and fucking optimistic? I think that's a great thing. And you don't see that anymore. That's an issue. I think that we've gone away from positive motivational speakers, and we have now kind of latched on to negative motivational speakers. Be motivated by all the bad shit that's going on, because you better do something about it now or we're all done. We're all done. Fear, hatred of the other, anger. Like, when did we make that switch? It seems like it was right around the time of fucking Trump. It's kind of weird. Maybe should be looked into. But I really feel like guys like Eric Thomas, who's fucking amazing. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's a dope motherfucker. Maybe Eric Thomas is a preacher. You should check it out. It should be Maxwell. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Renee. Third Rail, did you ever answer my question? Oh, okay. You called him on a radio show. You asked him why him. The Congressional Black Caucus, NAACP, pound their chests like Hercules when the Republicans do the wrong. You said you agree. Okay, I'll let you continue, my guy. Why is it when you stick up for people you're a bad guy? That's another question. It's like, why are we hating so much? Why should there be so much fear of the other? Why is it so bad for people to stand up and say that LGBTQ people deserve rights? Also, cut down your name to LGBT, please. Why is it bad for people to say that though we don't need a bajillion people crossing the border illegally, that we need to work with immigrants to continue to energize our economy and our populace by helping these people come into the country and have good lives right along next to us? Why does the answer to that have to be, but a bunch of them are sexually assaulting and killing people? Why is that where your guys' brain goes? Because you've been convinced. that you have to be scared. You've been convinced that negativity should motivate your life instead of positivity. If I would have had that mentality growing up, I wouldn't be here. I grew up in the worst of places, and I had all the reasons to believe that shit is bad and will always end bad. And I got through that by listening to positive motivational speakers, by educating myself, by being energized by my success and other people's success around me. Like, how is that not a thing? Why are we doing this? You asked him, where's the same energy when the Democratic Party does it? All we got is silence. I told him the people I preach to say they are the same thing. Third, I'll give you this. He's a young man, and he's got a bright future. So I'll ask you this, because you have a point, right? Why are you, instead of trying to motivate him in a positive manner, why are you taking such a negative approach to it? Why are you choosing to hate and to demean rather than to try to educate and motivate him in a positive manner? If you're a preacher, my friend, you have fallen from your faith. And I'm not religious. This is a secular humanist telling you this. You shouldn't be motivating through negativity and demeaning this young African-American dude because he disagrees with you. Instead, you should be looking to have a conversation with him and attempt to help him along his path. Because I know when I was his age, I was a dumb motherfucker. All I knew was physical violence, and all I knew was harming people and doing dumb shit that really should have put me in a bad place. And like I said, I had to find that positivity. I had to find the success of others around me. I had to invest in me as a person, and I had to invest in the people around me. And if all people did was demean me, if every manager, every person that was above me, every leader did nothing but say I was wrong and demean me and approach me with negativity, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be speaking to you. You should want to help encourage this young man do better. But you're wrong, Third. You're wrong. Donald Trump doesn't uplift people. Donald Trump does the thing that you're doing. He attempts to motivate people through fear and hatred and anger. And that's not the right path, dog. That's not the right path. I can't believe I'm sitting here arguing with a preacher. I can't believe I'm sitting here telling a preacher that he should be positive. I can't believe that I'm sitting here telling a person that leads a group of people that believe in him that he should be helping them be successful. You want a person that argues for fear of the other. That is ironic. Can you speak to any legislation that Donald Trump has pushed forward that is more positive than something like the CHIPS and Science Act? Something that has had more impact on any people in America than the Infrastructure Act or the American Recovery Act? If you could, I want to hear it. You don't believe in your community. You don't believe in Maxwell Frost. That's insane, man. That's insane. You need to pray, dog. Fuck. All right. I can't just talk to you all day, Third Rail. I hope you get better, though, because people believe in you and people trust you. People have faith in you. And you're letting them down, dude. You're letting them down. Let's listen to Bo.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today...
That's a terrible thing to say, Third.
To talk about
We're
Trump
all one people, dog. We're all one people.
That has now been reported on.
That's a terrible thing for a preacher to say, dude.
Would affect the economy
that's
in a potential second
Trump
term. And we're just going to kind of run through what was said briefly and talk about the potential reactions to it if that plan was put into place. The short version of it is that it would make Trump an acting central bank
Yeah.
board member.
We're all one
with
people.
the
No, that's
power
true.
to
He's part of my
fire
people.
the chair of the Federal
And I'd
Reserve.
like to see him get better. I'd like to see him be a better human being. I don't have a lot of hope, but I'd like to see it.
That's quite a statement. For those that don't know, the Federal Reserve is supposed to be independent, should not answer to the whims of the presidency for political reasons. I believe it would also give Trump some control, or they would have to consult with him over interest rates as well. If it becomes clear that there's going to be a Fed chair that answers to the president, I would expect a dramatic reaction in the markets. Y'all always joke about how I'm very understated. No, this is an understatement. Dramatic reaction does not cut it. Volatile does not cut it. Especially, and this would be true of any president,
Don't forget to like the stream. Don't forget to subscribe.
But this would be especially true of Trump, somebody who does not necessarily have the greatest record when it comes to long-term financial decisions. It is important to remember that prior to the public health issue that arose during his administration, we saw the yield curve invert. We saw signs that the U.S. was headed into a recession.
Mm-hmm.
And in many ways, the pandemic kind of provided cover for it. This is something that I would like to assume would never make it through Congress. But
you'd hope so.
We
this
can't
Congress...
really make those kinds of assumptions anymore. This would be a huge deal. It would impact everybody. It would impact the U.S. economy from top to bottom. And again, a dramatic reaction that's an understated assessment of the situation. In totally unrelated news, it does appear that Trump's latest venture, there are people who have made tens of millions of dollars with it by, in essence, betting on it failing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not somebody I would want to have sway over the Federal Reserve. Just saying. Anyway,
just saying.
It's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
Gotta love me some Bo. Gotta love me some Bo. That's my gingers. That's my gingers right there. Bo's a smart dude. Knows what he's talking about. Oh, I'll play this one for you guys again, because you guys seem to be you guys are this one's for third rail.
Hello. I'm here to remind you that the only thing
here you go, Caesar.
From achieving all
here you go, Caesar. This one's for you.
Having all of the things that you've ever wanted is probably money. That's it. Just lots of money. So if you could just get lots of money, you could probably have all that stuff that you wanted. Okay, just go get a bunch of money somewhere. Okay, think about that for a while. Have a super freaking awesome day and stuff.
This is my man.
Or you could just decide to be happy anyway and don't need all that stuff, and then the money's not all that important. But
did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Otherwise.
Oh, fucking okay. So amazing.
Okay, bye.
Oh, dude, he's amazing.
You know, I've been hurt by other people. I've had people who disappointed me. I've had people who said terrible things to me and said things about me, and you know, I just chose not to let any of it bother me, because, you know, often things, when people say things about you, they're usually saying they're really actually saying something about themselves, and they're just using you as a
Don't
way
forget
to
your
sand it
towel.
off you and then make it look like you're the problem, but really it's their problem.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of getting upset when people say horrible, terrible things to me, I just go, well, maybe I could learn something from it. And then if there's nothing to be learned, because then you also have to think that a lot of times people have an opinion about you that's not really based on you, because they don't know anything about you based on their limited experience with you. And in fact, I can barely understand myself, and I've been with myself the whole time, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing and what I'm thinking and who I am, and then I get upset about other people.
Cracker's having a hard time comprehending. These are too many words for him.
I don't even know who I am or what I'm doing half the time, and let alone...
Yeah, who increased the debt by $7.4 trillion, Patrick?
So instead of getting upset and hot and bothered and miserable about what other people think, I just think, well, it's pretty much an uneducated opinion. And I just don't hold it against them. I just, well, okay. Well, I hope they're working out their issue, and if they got need to use me to work out their issue, and then I hope they work their issue out. Makes life a whole lot easier when you just don't hate people, even when they give you a reason to hate them. Because there's lots of reasons to hate people. And you just decide not to hate people, and instead of hating people, you kind of feel sorry for them and hope they work things out. So anyway, hope that helps you. If it doesn't,
Yeah.
you're probably one of those miserable, rotten people
like Cracker.
that need to stop and look at themselves a little bit.
Oh, shit, son, he's calling you out.
Have a super freaking awesome day and stuff.
Oh, fuck. Nothing funnier than this dude being in the comments talking shit about a dude that's literally like, yeah, if there's a person talking shit about you, they're probably just talking about themselves. They're not real happy people. Cracker, he's talking about you, dog. Fuck. Oh my God, that's amazing. Dude, go look inward, Cracker. Cracker, you're like a very sad person. You're very, very angry and hateful and sad. I mean, Jesus Christ, you made like 7 accounts just so you come back to a place that you say you don't like. How sad is that? It's gay for you, dog. Me and you, Cracker, we're gonna have a struggle cuddle. I'm gonna be the big spoon. What up, Redunk? Speaking of struggle cuddles, what's happening, man? Oh shit! Oh fuck! Me and Cracker's got a crush, dog. Cracker's still here because he's got a crush on my bald head. He want to rub his bald head to completion. Oh God. God. Oh, Adam's been spurned. You can tell Adam's been spurned. Titty sprinkles. Redog, did you just see this, dude? You see Rodney Norman? Redog, show your wife Rodney Norman for me, okay? Let her watch Rodney Norman. She needs Rodney Norman in her life, and also Curious George, just so you know. Everybody needs Rodney Norman in their life. This guy is amazing. Let's see. Can I remember? I'm going to make you guys really sad. I'm going to make Redonk sad too, because I know all of you guys probably hate motivational speaking, but this is the stuff that you guys should watch. This stuff right here, this guy right here, Les Brown, amazing dude. Great dude. Awesome dude. His story about how he became a motivational speaker, how he was a young man working at a radio station, and he wanted to be the jockey, right? Like he was just there, like he'd clean stuff up, he'd work for him, he'd be a roustabout, and how he'd show up every day just hoping one day that this one guy that would always show up drunk wouldn't be able to work his shift. And then one day, that dude was like, I'm not going to be able to make it. And he calls his boss, and he's like, hey, this guy's here, and he's drunk, and he's not going to be able to do the show. And his boss goes, okay, well, call around and find out if another DJ can come in. And he said he hung up the phone, waited a few minutes to act like he called the other DJs, and then he called his boss back and he said, nobody can make it. And he said, well, what are we going to do? And he said, I think I can do it, boss. And how he got on there and he had a whole spiel about being a DJ that he already had set up. And he just went for that shit, dude. It's one of the coolest stories. And it's funny as hell. And it's fucking inspirational. Dude's awesome. Has he been around? I just haven't seen him. Redonk. Who are we yelling at today? Ducky, I'm yelling at everybody. As always. That's what I do. Cracker's like the angriest person. Redonk, meet Cracker. Cracker, meet Redonk. Cracker is a pessimistic doomer who's been hurt and touched in places and also wants to touch me in places. Is that the guy that was declared, I'm not going to say that, in grade school, but was very successful in life? I think that's true. Actually, Adam, yeah, you're correct. I believe he was put in special ed classes. I don't know how things worked back in his day, as far as like mental retardation was classified and like how it was. And guys, I'm using the clinical term. Okay, don't fucking cancel me. But he was, I believe he was either held back or he was put in the special ed classes. I think so. No, I think you're right, Adam. I think that's correct. See the pastor that flipped out on his congregation over MAGA? Yeah, no, I saw him yelling at his congregation. Yep. We watched that shit. Yeah, Les Brown is amazing. You guys should, if you want like some positivity in your life during this like absolute shit polarization, doomer bullshit pessimism, watch Les Brown. Because doomer pessimism isn't getting you anywhere in life but sad. And you're gonna lay down on your bed for the last day, close your eyes, and you look back at your memories, and all your memories are gonna be bad. Create good memories. Like fucking have some optimism. Play with your kids. Go out on a date with your wife. Watch a fucking movie. Like stop with all this pessimism and fucking hate and anger and vitriol for the other. There's always someone on your doorstep that's looking to come in and take what you got. No, they're not. I grew up in the fucking ghetto. Like I said, to this day, my wife can tell you, like I used to like roll out of bed if I heard a noise and fucking run to my garage because I thought somebody was stealing my shit. You don't want to live that life. It's not a good life. I didn't like grow up like going like, oh, this is amazing. This is probably the best my life could be. No, I grew up wanting more. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be optimistic. And I've achieved that. I have 2 kids. I have a house I own. I have people that I love around me. I get on here and talk to you guys because I got time to. Like, you got to get away from all this pessimism, all this anger, all this worry that people are going to steal your shit. Let's see. We got a neo-fascist one. We got the second week of that. Let's see. I'm trying to remember there was one I wanted to watch. I also like Denzel Washington's speeches. His are really good too. Matthew McConaughey actually has some really good speeches as well. Let's go to the YouTube page and see what we're getting offered up right now. Realizing nobody cares about me changed my life. I don't know if that's the one we want to watch right now. Let's watch Luke Beasley because I like Luke. Luke's a pretty.
We've covered extensively President Joe.
And once again, doomers, you're ruining society for the kids. You're so scared. You're so angry. You're so hateful. And you don't recognize young people like Luke Beasley, like Adam Mockler, that are out there trying to make positive impact. You're fucking it over for them. You're creating self-fulfilling prophecies because you're like, things are so bad, things are so bad, things are so bad, things are so bad. And then when things are bad, you're like, look, I told you. Oh, who created this bad situation? Could it possibly have been the pessimistic doomer people that were like, things are so bad? I think so.
Joe Biden's pro-union credentials, and so it only fits that now we're seeing one union after another publicly support President Joe Biden's re-election bid. And I have for you one of the most incredible, powerful, on the nose political ads that I've seen, of course, anti-Trump in
Liberals,
a very long
everybody
time, and I'm going to
created
play
them.
it
Both
for
sides,
you,
Ducky.
and I'll probably play more of it than I normally play of videos, but some really strong stuff.
care if
Before
you're
playing
left
that,
or
here's
right. If
the
you're a
news
doomer,
that's
you're a
relevant. The
doomer.
Associated Press reports President Joe Biden picked up the endorsement of North America's building trades unions at a Wednesday event where the president and his allies set out to dismantle Republican Donald Trump's reputation as a successful real estate developer. So the North America's building trades unions released this video, an ad that is announcing their endorsement of Joe Biden. And again, pretty brutal for Trump. He's not going to like this.
You are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
I love that you guys two are like, he only said day one. It's like, I would only be a serial killer, but just like day one. You know, I get like 10 or 12 in, and then everything would be normal after that. It's like dudes that want to cheat on their wives. Dudes that are like, I just need a hall pass. They're like, just one day. Just give me a hall pass for one day. And then after that, I'll be good to go. I'll never do it again. Oh, fuck.
Donald Trump, he's not a good man. He's not a good person. He does not care about anybody in this world except Donald Trump. That's it. That's
You
all.
think he's a little Lexus?
Now he's looking to get in that position again to exert revenge on people. I go all the way back to the 80s with Donald Trump and him trying to, get his mug on page 6 of the New York Post. The only difference between the Donald Trump of the 80s and the Donald Trump of today is he feels totally free to let his dark side out. And his dark side is very, very dark and very, very dangerous for this country.
I'm going to be honest. This is too doomer for me.
We can't let our democracy that we've worked for and we've cherished just disintegrate with the wrong leader at the wrong time.
I think woke's right.
I can tell you that he personally committed to me that he was going to get our pensions fixed. He understood who was affected by these pensions. He assured me, I'm the President of the United States, I'll just call Mitch, I'll tell him to put it in the bill. Is everybody gonna love me? Everybody loves me, right? Is everybody gonna love me?
Yeah, but Donald Trump called Mitch, and Mitch was like, you called my wife ugly. Dude, there's a lot of fucking, like, Mitch McConnell, Turtle Man looks like he's not very emotional. Turtle Man is hiding a deep pool of anger and hatred towards everybody. Donald Trump, I guarantee you, Donald Trump actually said that. Donald Trump's like, I got this shit handled. Don't worry about it, guys. You guys give me a call, I'm going to fix all of these things. He picked up the phone, he called Mitch McConnell, and Mitch McConnell goes, fuck you, and then hung up the phone. I wish I could do a Turtle Man impression. Because if I could do a Turtle Man impression, that would have been great. Oh, Christ. You see what Turtle Man did? Who did he call out? He made fun of Trump and somebody else just a minute ago. God damn it, why can't I remember that? Who did Turtle Man go in on just like 2 days ago? But in his Turtle Man voice. He did it in like oh, that person just kind of sucks. I got no Turtle Man. I should stop. Sorry for even trying.
Yes, Mr. President, you fix the pension, everybody's gonna love you.
He's retiring, Redon.
That was wasted breath. There was lots of other things put in that bill. There was tax cuts put in that bill for rich people. Donald Trump promised infrastructure every year.
Infrastructure is the easy.
Donald Trump promised infrastructure week for 4 years. For 4 years, Donald Trump was like, infrastructure is right around the corner, guys. Don't you worry about it. I'm working on it. After I give this tax cut to the ultra wealthy, you guys are totally going to get an infrastructure week. And you guys were like, hell yeah, brother. I can't wait. It's going to happen. And then it never happened. Ever happened.
Easiest of all.
Donald Trump.
Dude, he had a Republican Senate and Congress too, didn't he? Didn't he have both fucking houses?
Trump was not interested in any of the policy that actually goes along with being president of the United States. Trump was interested in the pomp and circumstance.
He's like, politicians lie to you.
Helicopter. It's all about him.
Hold on, Adam. What year did COVID start? if I remember right, COVID started in 2020. Wasn't it the first month of 2020? Wasn't it in China until 2019? Wasn't it like February 2020? You telling me he had 4 weeks, and I'm pretty sure he had both the House and the Senate. No, I'm talking about for America, Redunk, because it's the only thing that matters. 4 years! 4 years! He had a long fucking time to get that shit passed! And he didn't! And do you know why he didn't, to be completely fucking honest? You want to know why he didn't? Because he gave tax cuts to the ultra-wealthy, and there was no budget left over for an infrastructure act. That's why. I'm not fucking making this up. Go look it up. That's literally why.
Trump is incapable of running anything, let alone the most powerful country in the history of the world. And God help us if he gets anywhere near that White House in the future.
And then they get into the for stuff, why they're for Biden, not just against Trump. We talk
sorry,
a lot
2
about,
years.
I'll play the rest of this in just a second,
Two
but we're
and
talking
a
a lot
half
about
years.
how there's
My bad.
your
My
for
bad, Adam.
column and
Only
against
2.5
column in
years.
voting in this election. And obviously we have an existential issue right now facing voters, which is that Trump could end or severely damage our democracy. And so
Hey, and hold on. Didn't Donald Trump say that COVID was going to be over in like a week? Didn't he say like there's one person, they just landed at the airport. It's going to be fine. We caught them. It was a Chinese person and we put them in detainment. They've been quarantined. It's nothing more than the flu. Don't worry about it. You guys are fine. Wasn't he the guy who did that? Did I do a good enough Donald Trump? Didn't I say that? Did I do a good enough Donald Trump? Like, come on, man. Like, you don't have to defend everything. This is the weird thing with Trump supporters. You guys come on here and you're like, Biden and his 94 crime bill was shit. And I go, yeah, that's true. In fact, I had to point out that a lot of shit that happened during the 90s and between the Clinton administration and Democrats in general during the 90s was really bad for marginalized people and was actually kind of really bad for America, period. And I'm like, sure, why not? But every time I say anything bad about Donald Trump, even the smallest fucking thing, you guys are like, it's not his fault. Like, come on. You can admit that some of the shit that he did, like not passing an infrastructure act for almost 3 years, is okay to admit that he didn't do it. You can even say, I liked other policies, but that one he didn't do. You could do that. But you won't. Why? What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
even if you had different feelings about President Joe Biden maybe than I do, and you were opposed to some of his policy achievements or policy vision for the future, then the against column, I think, should still be overwhelming. And that's why many even former Trump administration officials are saying they're going to vote for Biden, because the against stuff, what they're voting against, which is Donald Trump, his movement, his authoritarian ambitions, is so powerful and so strong. And that's something that's being pointed out in this video. And then, like I said, they get to why they're for Biden actively. And before playing that, I also want to say that because I focus so much on, justifiably, I think, the threat that Trump poses to democracy, a lot of other policy issues that he's wrong on sort of go by the wayside. Now, lately, we've been talking a lot about his impact on reproductive rights and how he is one of the most damaging people in American history to reproductive rights because of the fact that him being elected in 2016 allowed for the justices to get onto the Supreme Court, that allowed for the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and that enabled all of the horrific laws we've seen.
Like, you can agree that what Mitch McConnell did at the end of Obama's presidency was the wrong thing to do for America, because we saw this with the impeachments. We knew that impeaching Donald Trump was opening a Pandora's box, and that we would see in the future more attempts to impeach presidents. So I will openly admit on the left that I think even though Donald Trump should have been impeached for the things that he did, that the understanding that it was never going to pass the Senate was going to set a bad precedent for the future of America. Now that I've admitted that, can you admit that Republicans should not have stood with Mitch McConnell in keeping Obama from being able to certify his candidate, and then also changing the rule to only be the majority of the Senate, so that way they could then push through 2 of their own Supreme Court candidates right after that. Like, that's a tit for tat, guys. All you gotta do is say, yeah, hey, you're right, and also you're right. Or you can say, no, I disagree, but these are the reasons. But you can't do that. You're not gonna do that because you're so ingrained in your party mentality. So, like, fucking just like, you don't want to leave the hive. You should be able to critically think about whether or not the things Donald Trump did while he was in office was bad. And just because he's a part of your party doesn't mean you can't admit that the shit he did was bad. Come on, guys.
Across the country. So that issue we've been talking a lot about, but it can't be forgotten while we're talking about these huge existential issues that he also is just not a friend of the working class. And that's the point that's being made here by this in a BTU endorsement video, which is that Trump made a lot of promises, a lot to the working class. He acted, a lot of people supported him, at least they said, for the reason that he seemed to be more of a working class hero. Now, I never bought it. A lot of people never bought it, but Trump did try to sell himself that way, even though, of course, he's the billionaire and has this history of ripping off working class Americans.
And that's another thing about Trump. People keep saying he's a working class hero. And the reason that you're saying this is because he gave tax cuts to the middle class. But when you look at those tax cuts, you have to recognize a few different things. One of them is that for the middle class, they expire next year, okay? And when people go, look at this, they all got the same percentage. He didn't just give it to the ultra wealthy. You have to understand how taxes work. And that is, for the ultra wealthy, he also provided more loopholes, like increasing the step up loophole that increased the amount of money that people could claim when inheritances were passed down to get away from paying taxes. And the fact that those corporate tax cuts were actually permanent for them. That's not pro-middle class. It's not pro-middle class. People keep complaining about how the left are commie. You guys are commies. You guys want communism. The way you are going to create communism is by continuing to build a bigger and bigger gap between the ultra wealthy and the working class. Because at one point or another, and we're already starting to see the rumblings, you're going to have a working class that is so fed up with getting screwed over all the fucking time by wealthy elites, whether they are Democrat, Republican, or independent, that you're going to end up with a bad position where people take it into their own hands. And if you guys have any idea what it looked like under Lenin when they fucking turned that into a communist country, you have a pretty good idea what's going to happen to these billionaires. If you don't want communism, then you should be voting for antitrust. If you don't want communism, then you should be talking about taxing the uber wealthy. This is like, I just don't understand how you guys can vote against your own interests over and over again and then complain about your plight. It doesn't make any sense.
Americans, but still he was able to sell this sort of, I'm anti-establishment, I'm going to go in there and fight for you. And yeah, maybe you don't like the way that I'm speaking about things, but I can go in there and take this aggression to the powerful people in your interest. That's not what he did. He did a lot of horrible, horrible things. And on top of that massive stack, you have him breaking the promises to people like the guy featured in this video. We
probably agree on lots of stuff.
Specifically violating his commitments and just being yet another powerful person working in.
Hold on, let's talk about what Redong's saying. Who else can they vote for? Who else can you vote for? Well, in this election, practically no one else, right? Because you don't have a chance of winning in a two-party system as a third party. That's been proven over and over again, going all the way back to my dude, Ross Perot. Not that I even agreed with Ross Perot's policies. I love that he used charts to explain shit to people. But he had, what, 9% or 12% of the total vote? What you need to be talking about is voting in your own interests, and that is ranked choice voting. I don't know why people have not educated themselves to what ranked choice voting is. I don't know if that's because neither party wants it. The left doesn't want it. The right doesn't want it. Shit, probably American independents don't want it because it takes away. But you should want ranked choice voting. You should want the ability to vote for Bernie Sanders. You should want the ability to vote for Marianne Williamson. You should want the ability to vote for RFK if that's who you're into. You should want the right to vote for Andrew Yang if that's who you're into. But it's never going to happen until people start actually educating themselves to what ranked choice voting is, how important it is to you to have the option to vote for whoever you would like to vote for, and why neither party wants it to be instituted. Because they know at that point, you can vote for somebody like Bernie Sanders. You can vote for somebody like RFK. And there is a chance that they will win. I'm not going to say that it's still a big chance, but there's a chance. And it would definitely make people get a little antsy and make them a little nervous. If you're a progressive and you don't like what Joe Biden has done, if you're a progressive and you're against his Israel-Hamas stance, you should be looking at ranked choice voting, because the only two candidates that I can possibly think of that would have done anything different in Israel other than Trump actually just nuking Gaza would be Marianne Williamson or Bernie Sanders. That's the only two people that I can think of. And like I said, that's notwithstanding my opinion. That's just saying the facts. Donald Trump would have added more aid to Israel. Biden rode the line and did what an establishment politician would do. The only two people that would have done something different is Marianne Williamson and Bernie Sanders. And that's not an endorsement. That's just fucking facts. Ralph Nader, James!
In the interest of powerful and already wealthy people, where his one big achievement, if you want to call it that, was cutting taxes, as was mentioned in that video, disproportionately the benefits of that going to the top of the economic ladder. Whereas President Joe Biden has a very different record, and that's what's touched on next.
The president signed the
Trump did 4 peace treaties. You're talking about the Abraham Accords. Let me ask you a question. Do you really think there will ever be peace in the Middle East? Because if you think that, you are discounting thousands of years of history. You are discounting the fact that there are extreme religious ideologies that do not want to exist with one another. And if you think that the Abraham Accords was a good idea because he went around to countries that were already doing trade behind the scenes and made it public and forced on a place like Saudi Arabia, who was the final tile. If they would have joined up, there would have been peace across the Middle East. Everything would have fucking candy canes would have came out of the ground. Ferries would have flown in and sprinkled dust over the people, and they all would have got along. Then you are living in fucking La La Land. Because there was no point in which Iran was going to allow Saudi Arabia to join that accord. There was no point when any of the Arab culture was going to be okay with Donald Trump recognizing the annexation of the Golan Heights. There was no point when any part of the Middle East was going to be okay with Donald Trump recognizing the embassy being in Jerusalem. If you think that leads to peace, you are fucking dumb. Jesus Christ, Mikey. Sometimes you make me sad.
Partisan infrastructure bill, CHIPS and Science
the
Act.
landmark Inflation Reduction Act. Hard-fought victory for the president.
These massive pieces of legislation.
Why? Mikey, did you listen to a fucking word I just said? No, you didn't, right? Because in your brain, anything that has anything that you have to comprehend just goes out your fucking ears. Repeat to me what I just said. No, you can't, right? No, you can't because you weren't listening. You were like, what's the next thing I'm going to say? That's what you're doing. Literally just told you that the things that he did had an impact on this presidency. Jesus Christ. Show me where I'm wrong, Redon.
Legislation have been passed. It's incredible, but it isn't like schoolhouse
Show me
rock,
where I'm wrong.
Okay, there's lots of work to be done after the president actually signs a bill. They can write the rules so the rules work for working people. They can write the rules so the rules don't work for working people. The language that President Biden...
Mikey, we have influence. Influence is not total. The USA doesn't snap their fingers and people do what the fuck they tell them. Or else Israel wouldn't have just bombed Iran. United States literally told Israel, don't do that shit. We don't need it to escalate. Do you think Joe Biden wants to go into fucking World War III during a fucking election year? No! Jesus Christ, even if you think all politicians are bad and shady and crazy, that would make no sense to go into World War III before you get elected. I can't chill. He hurts. I can't chill. 'Cause Biden. Jesus Christ. Ah, you guys sometimes with you guys. No.
Put in the legislation, he's got everybody covered. Forgot about
from
nobody.
A magical place.
It's been amazing.
15 million new jobs in just 3
Thanks,
years.
Obama.
800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America.
I'm always going to be the
counting.
angry ginger.
So many times we were promised, and then nobody really delivered. Once again, somebody
another
comes in and
person trying to wake
promises,
me up.
only lo and behold,
Motherfucker,
delivered.
I got sleep problems. I never sleep.
I think we'll step back from where we're at in a few years, and we'll realize how big the impact
Ali!
of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has been.
Are you actually from Iran? Don't hate me, bro.
With the
This country
monumental
is
pieces of
crumbling under
legislation that they
Biden.
passed that are just
Ah,
now
there's the
starting
doomers.
to take root
There's
from
the
coast to
doomers.
coast in this country. The future is so bright, it's unbelievable. We're bringing domestic manufacturing back.
Thank
We're
you,
gonna get
Ali.
broadband
I
for the
appreciate
first time in huge swaths
I
of
love
this country.
people, man.
President Biden fixed our pension funds to
I
make
haven't
them
slept
even
in
more
30. I
solid
have
for the
kids.
future. Like they say, rising tide lifts all boats. By the time Biden's done his second term, anybody that wants a middle...
Hold on, keep guns free. Hold on. You are seriously going to bring up a bag of cocaine found in the White House. You think that that's a problem? Do you think that there are no drugs in Washington? Do you think that, like, nobody in politics is doing cocaine? Do you think that, like, that was, like, some kind of weird one-off where, like, only under Joe Biden's administration would there possibly ever be cocaine in the White House? Like, bro, come on. You got to be smarter than that. Wow. You cannot possibly think that. That is insane. That is insane. The minute Biden... No, we're in a COVID fucking crisis, Mikey. Jesus Christ. Like, come on, dog. No, I don't think it's a problem. Drug culture is everywhere. If you don't think that drugs are pervasive in American society, you must have grown up Amish, dog. I don't know where you grew up. Dude, there are people on... Do you think pharmaceuticals or drugs keep guns free? Do you think, like, opioids and stuff are drugs? Do you think Adderall's a drug? You know, you understand how drugs work, right? Like, they're all derivative. Liberal culture is everywhere. That's why we're going to continue to go forward with society. While Mikey and the rest of the doomers stand around and jerk off to fear porn. Isn't that isolationist? I still support Biden, but he seems to be more right-wing than I prefer. That's why I said he hurts, is a lot of people think that, like, Biden's super hard left progressive, liberal! And most progressives and most really liberal people have tons of issues with what Biden does. I think the CHIPS and Science Act is really isolationist, to be honest with you, but I think it's also incredibly important because people need to understand you can have isolationist policies and you can have global policies. You can bring both of those things together and create this kind of great batter that turns into this amazing cake. And what we generally do is we try to define things really narrowly and tell ourselves we can only do capitalism, we can only do socialism, we can only do communism, when the real actual thing we should be doing is borrowing from every ideology and being like, this is good. We see that this works over here. We should use that. This is good. This is looking like it's working over here. We should use that. That's why I don't like people talking about political parties. Why do you need to be in a political party? Why can't you just have values? Why can't you just have policy prescriptions? Why do you need to be in a group with other people so that way you feel validated? You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to feel validated about your own fucking values. You should be able to express your values without looking at everybody else around you and being like, do you guys agree? Do you guys agree? I hope you guys agree. Please agree. You don't agree? I'll change my mind. Like, that's fucking crazy. Fucking crazy.
Class living in this country is going to have the opportunity to have one, whether it's in construction or someplace else. This is all made possible through the work that he's done,
saying more dumb
working
shit.
with leaders in Congress to set the table for the renaissance of the American
rainbow flag
economy.
is literally inclusive.
Towns
Literally
that have been
borrows
forgotten
from
and left
everybody.
behind for dead are coming alive again because of you all and what we're doing.
Okay, hold on.
Finish the.
Hold on, Nate. Okay, me and you are going to talk, Doug. Man sits in his house all day getting YouTube money. First of all, I don't get very much money. Telling people how the state should work. I haven't told anybody how they should work. I stand up here using my mind to show you that you can use your mind. I'm not telling you to do anything. I have said on this show over and over and over again, I am not here to tell you what to do with your life. I am here to express my opinion, and you should fucking do the same. You should critically think, and you should read legislation, and you should investigate policies and the people who voted for them. If you leave my show going, oh, hell yeah, that guy, he told me a bunch of shit I should do, and I should do that shit, you are not picking up what I am putting down. And that's because that's the type of society you live in, Nate. You're like, what these people tell me to do is what I do. I'm not brainwashed. God damn it. Dude, Nate, no one's in your backyard. You crying ass little. Come on, dog. No fucking immigrants are in my backyard. They're at the gate. They're at the gate. They're stealing stuff from my house. I bet you're fucking upper middle class, have never seen crime in your whole fucking life, and you're just so fearful it's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen any day now. Someone could break into my house. It's gonna happen.
The job. We are the United States of America.
North America's building trade unions couldn't be more proud
totally
and
brainwashed.
dedicated to the endorsement of Joseph Biden and Kamala Harris for President and Vice President of the United States of America. We will use everything at our disposal in our quest to have Joe Biden reelected as the President of the United States.
Yeah, they're coming for the job I refuse to do.
Getting it done.
So some pretty big statements there. I do have to say, one of the things that caught my ear was him saying, once Biden's done, any American that wants a middle class life will be able to get it. That's a big problem.
You live in Colombia and you're bitching about what's happening in the United States. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. This dude is sitting in Colombia complaining about shit he can't even see. Oh my God, dude. You are right, though. I've never lived outside of the United States because I grew up as a broke ass. Oh, fuck. Yes, even people on the border say it's over-exaggerated. I spent a lot of my life in Southern California. You know the impact I saw immigrants had on Southern California when I was there? They worked the jobs nobody wanted them to do. Every single fucking immigrant that I met, illegal or otherwise, was a hard-working badass. Okay? Wasn't people coming over here. You guys share like the 3 stories a year you get from the news. They're like, look, this one killed somebody. Look, this one sexually assaulted somebody. If I shared every fucking story of an American hurting another American, we wouldn't have time in the day to get them all out. But you guys are like, look at these 3 stories. These 3 stories. That's called fear-mongering. That's called an appeal to emotion. Jesus Christ. Come on. My giggles are telling. Mikey, you find my giggles attractive.
Promise there, sir. But
like
hopefully as many
giggle,
Americans as possible will be helped in the ways they can and given the opportunity they can to make that happen. And otherwise, just a really incredible breakdown of
Cracker, do I think there are terrorists not crossing the border also? Cracker, I would imagine that there are all sorts of people crossing the border. Some of them not very good hombres. And some of them being great fucking people. But where are the results? Where are these terrorist actions that are happening throughout the U.S. all the time? If all these terrorists are crossing the border day and night, where are all these terrorist things happening? Why is it mostly domestic terrorists that actually take action in America? Why is that true? If there are so many terrorists crossing the border at all fucking times that you should be fearful, hateful, and angry about it, where are the results? Where are they? Those 3 stories I talked about? The terrorists are killing joggers? Is that what the terrorists are doing? These terrorists are out there killing joggers? Come on.
Of policies that have moved the NAB
it doesn't need to be shut down, it needs to be fixed.
Such a strong stance
Cracker,
in favor
come
of
on!
President Joe Biden. And I've been talking about a lot when it comes to Biden's domestic policy record.
Andrew.
It is.
Andrew, how much do you know about me, Andrew? How much do you know about me, Andrew? Absolutely fucking zero. Do I sit here saying I'm scared of Trump winning? No, if you've actually watched a fucking live stream once before, you know that I sit here telling everybody that you shouldn't get so fucking worked up that you think that the world is ending if Donald Trump gets elected. You should vote in your interests. And you should say that if Donald Trump gets elected, I will still be here. I will still be using my voice. I will still be raising my children and going to work. But every chance I get to vote against Donald Trump, I will vote against Donald Trump. Because I think he's a shit human being that is bad for America. That's just my fucking opinion. I love that you guys come on here and watch my fucking show for 4.5 fucking minutes. And then you're like, that's a wild statement. You're scared of Trump winning again. You don't know shit. You're scared, bro. Andrew, shut the fuck up. You don't know anything and it shows. God
Pretty
damn.
remarkable. And I do
Christ,
think impressive.
why do you guys talk?
It's my responsibility to
You
admit
just
that
let
and say
everybody
that
know how
whenever
dumb
it's the
you
case. I
are.
think some people, because it can sound too cheerleady, feel weird about saying such a thing, but it's just the case, okay? A strong legislative record, especially, and that has contributed to the economic recovery that we've seen, the plummet in crime that we've seen, and we remember that when Biden took over, it was a total disaster on all fronts. And so the fact that we're here so quickly on these different economic metrics and otherwise.
Yeah, every one of you thinks that coming out of a global pandemic in which you literally sat with your hand down your pants on your couch while you watched Netflix and ordered food to your door was the worst situation you've ever been involved in your life. But the real worst situation that you would have been involved in is that if Joe Biden wasn't good at doing his job, we would have actually entered a recession. We actually would have a really fucked up economy. We actually would have things to bitch about. But Joe Biden has done a good job. And Joe Biden has actually done the things to keep us out of a recession. And Joe Biden has actually pushed forth legislation that will improve the future of America with all the things he's done. But you guys don't want to talk about that. You guys want to talk about how much of a victim you were because people made you wear masks. Oh, the hardest thing you've ever been through in your life was someone made you wear a mask. And then you guys are like, man, remember the good old times when people worked hard? Bro, you wouldn't have survived in the good old times. You couldn't wear a mask. You literally couldn't wear a mask. And you want to talk about the fucking blue-collar workers of the 50s? You wouldn't have made it. You would have survived like 3 fucking days after the Great Depression. And then you would have opted out.
Is a major accomplishment in part because of these achievements, these legislative achievements, as was noted in that video, the Inflation Reduction Act, Infrastructure Law, PACT Act, CHIPS and Science Act, etc. And those things matter a lot. And one of the things that really occurs to me every time we discuss policy is that I think America could be way less divided.
Mikey, I manage a grocery store. You're an idiot.
We could unite so much if the conversation about politics became focused on policy.
Dude, that draft
almost
was
exclusively.
amazing.
Because right now we get so caught up in rhetoric
Mom sucks my cock.
we get so caught up in these culture war issues that no one's really bringing forward often a policy proposal to, but it's just a bunch of talk about things and rage baiting and fear mongering, and that doesn't serve the end of improving Americans' lives when it's never connected to, out of some of these individuals, meaningful policy proposals. And so if even an avid Fox News viewer could just remove all that for a second and remove all the conditioning to think you care that much about furries, as we talked about the other day, or drag queens or something, I think even they could understand why lowering prescription drug costs is something we should unite around, and how we shouldn't be paying so much more than our developed country counterparts and being.
Hold on, Mel. Let's talk about it. How much have they risen? How much have they risen in the last 5 years, and how much have they? How much deflation have we seen since the height of COVID? And do you know why eggs are expensive? Do you know that eggs being expensive has nothing to do with inflation? Do you know that grocery prices actually have nothing to do with inflation? Do you know any of those things? Do you know that in my store I actually offer eggs at a margin that is not taking advantage of the community that I work in, because we have a symbiotic relationship? Do you know that corporations as a whole have the highest profits they've had in up to 70 years? Do you know any of those things? Andrew, you don't know shit. Just stop talking, dude. It's painful. It's painful. No, just eggs. It's property, value, gas, and groceries. No, it's not. Inflation has nothing to do with that. That's CPI, big guy. If we want to talk about the consumer price index, we can talk about the consumer price index. But if you want to talk about inflation, inflation does not include energy, it does not include rent, and it does not include gas or groceries. Do you want to talk about CPI, Mel? Is that what you're trying to talk about? Do you want to talk about CPI? Right now it's H5N1. That's the avian flu, correct? Not Robert knows. That would be the avian flu, which has actually also been introduced into milk supplies right now, and that's why you will probably see elevated amounts of pricing in milk as well. Even though it's subsidized by the government, you're probably going to see something along the lines of a price increase in certain things, because you know why? Because corporations make a lot of fucking money off of you, and when those corporations see that they have to do something like, kill a bunch of birds that they didn't want to and then dispose of those bodies because they can't sell them anymore, they make you pay for it, because they're not going to make their shareholders pay for it. They're not going to make their CEOs take a less of a wage this year. No, because you morons support everything that they do. You guys stand for corporations that take advantage of you at every single turn, over and over and over again. The avian flu is why egg prices went up. The avian flu is why milk prices most likely will rise as well. But keep trying. I like this. The MIT wage calculator. I'd have to look that up, he hurts. I'm sure you don't believe your lying eyes. People prices for everything aren't going up. I didn't say that things weren't going up, mail order. You're putting words in my mouth. I said, how much have they gone up? Because you guys like to say dumb shit, like that they've gone up 300%, but they've gone up 30, okay? It's fine. If you want to have a discussion about grocery prices and whether or not they're elevated, we can have a discussion on that. But when you start using arguments like inflation or that Joe Biden was the reason that this happened, you're wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. You can admit that. But if you don't, we can't have a conversation, because the price of eggs has nothing to do with inflation. The price of eggs has everything to do with the avian flu and corporations recognizing that you're willing to continue to pay, because they recognize the demand for the product, prices that are elevated. And they will not bring them down until people realize that the real power is in the hands of the consumer. In the hands of the consumer is the power to tell people, I will not pay those prices for eggs, and then you will see those prices decrease. Because when corporations start disposing of massive amounts of product because they can't sell it, then the demand will no longer be at a peak where you will have to be able to pay the prices that you are seeing in the supermarkets. But you aren't smart enough to figure that out, so you continue to go to these places and you continue to purchase things for incredibly high prices that should never be that high, but they know that you continue to do it because you support it through demand. What am I? Okay, well, Mel, sometimes the comments move by while I'm talking, so you got to help me out. What about literally everything else? So when we talk about literally everything else, we have to talk about literally everything else, like wars in Ukraine, wars in Israel. We have to talk about the fact that we just came out of a global pandemic. We have to talk about a semiconductor shortage that came out of Taiwan because all you fucks wouldn't stop buying TVs and phones and cars with your stimulus checks. Do you understand that inflation is because we spent a fuck ton of money because we were injected with a ton of money to keep us happy during the pandemic, which wasn't a bad thing? Yes, grocery prices have inflated, and that's not a good thing. And it's really tough for people in the lower middle class because those are the people that are most affected by it. Because upper middle class and middle class people can cut out amenities if they choose to, like Netflix and Hulu and the Peacock and having 17 different streaming options, or not taking a vacation this year, or not going to the county fair. But for lower middle class people, that actually becomes a really difficult thing to do because they're not experiencing a lot of amenities, because every amenity that they cut out actually affects their happiness. Do you think that people during the 30s, during the Great Depression, were like, well, I can pay rent or I can have Netflix. Fuck, that sucks. I want to have Netflix though. No, those people were literally losing their jobs left and fucking right. And there was nobody around in the government going, hey guys, here's a bunch of unemployment to help you guys get through this really fucking hard time. No, there wasn't. Because they actually experienced real fucking adversity. If you think this is adversity, if you think having to pay more for groceries or not being able to take a vacation this year is real fucking adversity, you would have never survived in the 50s. This time that you talk about that was so great. You would have never survived. How much? I have all the MAGA merch. Didn't happen under Trump. Literally started with Trump, you dipshit. Jesus Christ, stop talking. Egg production decline. As I said, chickens don't produce eggs like they used to, and it's believed to be linked to their feed in general. That's a good call, Keep Guns. I'd like to look into that. I'm a shill. I'm a total shill. I'm a total shill for big egg. Okay. God, why do you continue to talk? Entertainment thrived? Yeah, they had Netflix and Hulu and all these other things. Dude, what percentage of the population was unemployed during the Great Depression, mail order? Look at Graham. Oh, you guys are so funny. I love you guys. Eggland ships all eggs from one facility then to the country. Production isn't down? No, because people continue to buy. Oh, you're talking, I don't ban books. Oh, good Lord, you guys are great today. Nowadays, we spend a lot less than people during the 60s and around them. It's not excess spending, it's disproportionate wages. You should learn about the MIT. I do know about the disproportionate wages, and I do agree with that. But there's also a lot to be discussed there about the wealth gap and why that exists. I know, mail order, I was being facetious. Jesus Christ. I'm the angry ginger, Renee. I'm the angry ginger. Exactly. Yeah, shill. Total shill, Mikey. Just keep talking. You're coming off real good, dude. There is so much going on here, and I love you guys. I wonder if these guys understand the relationship between the deficit and GDP. I wonder if they understand that at all. I wonder if they understand how that's actually like decreased the deficit. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. He hurts. I'm not saying. Look, you gotta recognize one thing here. He hurts because I'm trying to have a conversation with like 37 different people all at once. Sometimes you're talking to me. Sometimes the chicken people are talking to me. I changed my name to Progressive Matters because I made a show called Progressive Matters. And then what really happened is these
live streams have taken off and we have discussions, and I like what they do. I like talking to people. I like talking to people that disagree with me. I like talking to people that push back against my opinions. I would even say I take some knowledge from this. Like He Hurts is giving me some stuff to think about. Mail order, if he would stop getting his feelings hurt so badly, could probably have a conversation with me, but he's getting a little feelings hurt right now. Velocity of the dollar. We don't ship a couple $1 billion abroad. The problem with that is that you're conflating what we're doing in Ukraine with our GDP, and we are not sending money to Ukraine. We are sending old ass army equipment. Velocity of the dollar is never talked about. I have my peaks there, Mikey, are somewhere about 250. I've had up to over 400 viewers. I think that's pretty good for a guy that has to work all the time and has kids. But hey, you're a hater. What do I expect? Mail order, I don't know what you're saying, except for that these events happen all throughout history and cause paradigm shifts. And I can agree with that on the surface just by looking at that statement by itself. Yes, I agree with that. The GDP overhead will never touch our deficit, but so long as we are all in debt, we are in our government's favor. I don't agree with that. During Clinton's administration, he balanced the budget, actually. China will someday wake up and be passed with us. China will never pass it. Oh, upset with us? That's not happening. That's not how GDP versus debt ratio works. If it did, China would already be here taking their shit back. That's not how it works. Yes, exactly, Robert. Yes, we buy brand new equipment, but that also is made by Americans, which stimulates our economy. So that's how it works. Yeah, Mikey doesn't have anything else to do, so Mikey's hanging out. He has no friends, no family. His coworkers are tired of his shit. He probably lost his job. So he's just hanging out here. The money that we spend to send to Ukraine is only equipment, so we put the money back in the U.S. military complex to make more money for our own industry. Yeah, I actually agree with that, Yusuf. I don't like the whole idea of the military complex, but I also think that when we look at things like that, it's extremely complicated, and you can't just like boil it down to a really reductive military bad kind of thing, because you do have to accept that we do need to have some kind of defense. You do have to accept that America does have to play some role on the global stage when dealing with other countries and the stability of the world. So though I do agree in like the purpose of your statement, I think that it's a little bit reductive. Yeah, let's see. Losing one's job sucks. It does suck. It does suck. Unless you just want some time off, and then it's a good thing. Surprised that China survives after 10 years? Yeah, China is having extremely big problems here. Out of everybody that was the most affected by COVID, it was China. China's economy is fucking dying right now. That's why they want Taiwan so bad, is because they import something like $400 to $500 billion worth of semiconductors from Taiwan every year. That's why it's very important to endorse the Chips and Science Act, because if you're anti-war, if you're against the war in Ukraine happening, I mean us being involved in it, or you're against us being involved in the Israel-Hamas war as well, then you should be in total support of the Chips and Science Act, which was brought forth by Chuck Schumer and signed into law by Joe Biden, because it's going to keep us out of a war between China and Taiwan. Like, you guys don't think these things through. Is Mikey your boss? It's a possibility, Robert. Thanks for being here, Keep Guns. I appreciate you, dude. Thanks for having to talk. Like I said, I like people that push back. People like Mikey are just here to like fill in the spaces. You hate the military has failed over and over their audit. We do need that under control. Yep, I agree with that, German. The audit and the problem with the... that's like a really like complicated thing because of the fact that obviously we can't tell everybody how much of what we have, but I think the American people, it should be transparent to us at least in some way. Pork patch to it, DOD hasn't passed enough. Yeah. Same thing, man. You're saying the same thing. I agree with that. Graham, you're just filling in the holes by being the conspiracy theorist. That's it. Oh, sorry, Mike. Here, I'll play the rest of Luke. Sorry.
Ripped off in that sense. And so things like the negotiating of drug prices by Medicare that was enabled by the Inflation Reduction Act, that's good. Or the capping of insulin costs, that's good. And we don't have to have these sort of abstract but very painful and
Yep, Yusuf, you are
anger-driven
correct,
conversations that don't actually move the ball down the field when it comes to policy. And I think these unions really strongly endorsing Joe Biden is an example of that. While Fox News pushes the idea that Biden's focus
loves
is
those words, keywords, dog.
what?
Keywords,
Again,
they
trying
love 'em.
to make your kid a furry.
It's what activates their brainwashing.
In reality, it's something very different. And that's what these unions understand. And that's good. Now, I do want to say, in addition to this, that while President Biden should get credit where it's due, a lot of this was enabled by the fact that Democrats, for the first 2 years of Biden's presidency, had the majority in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. And so if we want to see, okay, we avoid the crisis of Trump again, that would be incredible. But then we want progress. We don't want to just avoid a crisis for our democracy. We'd also like to continue seeing policy achievements. Well, we've seen what's halted that in the last year plus, which is Republicans having a majority in the House of Representatives and the focus going from policy aimed at benefiting American lives to stunts aimed at benefiting Republicans' political situation and attacking President Biden with all these investigations. And so it's super important that we care alongside the presidential about the House races, the Senate races, not to mention getting more local than that. And so I've been going through one Senate race at a time in these crucial races that will decide the Senate. And so we'll stick on the Senate for today. We talked about Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin. She needs to get reelected for Democrats to maintain control of the Senate. Jackie Rosen, recently we talked about in Nevada. And now I want to talk about Bob Casey in Pennsylvania. He's the incumbent senator, and he's being challenged by David McCormick. You might recognize that name. He ran in the Pennsylvania Republican primary last go round and got defeated by Mehmet Oz. And then Oz, of course, got defeated by Fetterman. And David McCormick is now nominated. So he's the Republican nominee for Senate in Pennsylvania. And he absolutely cannot win if we're going to see a majority in the Senate, which again is key if we want to see more of those policies. Because while again, I think Biden should be given the credit and he's sort of the leader of the whole agenda there, it was 100% necessary for Democrats to have majority in the Senate and the House for those things to get through. And so having Bob Casey win in Pennsylvania, defeat David McCormick, super important. So just give you a sense of David McCormick now that he was just recently officially nominated. Abortion, he's expressed his support for bans even in cases of rape and incest. So an extremist on the issue of abortion. We're seeing a lot of Republicans now backtrack and try to avoid talking about that issue. That can't happen.
Fly, Eagles,
Pennsylvania
fly,
voters need to know why, or what I should say, David McCormick stands for. We've also discussed this phenomenon where you have this long list of super, super wealthy Republicans trying to, as some people call it, buy Senate seats. Same thing with Eric Hovde going against Tammy Baldwin. Now, I've made clear that you can be super wealthy and have the correct policy position, right? It's not a disqualifier. But in this case, it just so happens, and all too often it just so happens that this super wealthy individual also is rather out of touch, and he is advocating for policies that are aimed at benefiting him and his wealthy friends, similar to Donald Trump. And here is Bob Casey, again, the incumbent Democratic senator who is trying to defend his seat on MSNBC, explaining a few other policy issues that I didn't yet touch on when it comes to the contrast.
On all these issues, my opponent in the race, the Republican candidate who just endorsed Donald Trump last week, he's on the other side. He wants to repeal the infrastructure bill, repeal the legislation that gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug costs, and also enshrined in a law that cap on insulin. So on every one of these issues, I'm on one side, he's on the other. So these...
Right, so a crucial race, and actually let me play a little further so he can plug this.
For voters, and I would hope that voters out there following my race and following the presidential race, if they're with us on these issues,
Adam,
I hope they go to bobcasey.com.
What are you guys going to do when you have to vote for Fetterman?
So there's that. And I really do see a January of 2025 that is really incredible, where we're seeing the shift of the conversation from are we going to lose our democracy to let's get back to work on making people's lives better. And the discussion being about how to pressure, if Democrats had a majority in the House and Senate, enough Democrats to do the right things and get the best policies implemented, rather than are we going to see further rights stripped away and further attacks on democracy. I'd much rather the discussion about how to get Democrats to do the best that they possibly could do when it comes to policy for those 2 years before the midterms, rather than a complete disaster for the country. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments.
God love Luke. He's a good kid, man.
If the president,
even if you don't agree with him, even if you're Republican or conservative, you should still appreciate that young people are getting involved. You should, like, this is the thing that how many generations have been like, young people don't care, young people don't vote, young people blah 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 blah. Like, this is what drives me nuts about you guys. Is you guys, all you are is just negativity. You don't want to say, hey, it's good that young people are getting involved. You can't say, hey, like, this young guy is actually pretty intelligent, but maybe I don't agree with his beliefs. Like, you can't add any positive spin to any of your criticism. You just have to be 100% negative. You never can give anybody any credit for anything. It's you guys are the only ones that do anything good. Everybody else is bad. Everybody else is going to cause things to go to shit. I can sit here and watch people. I literally listened to the Supreme Court when they were talking about Trump's immunity. And there were things that the Republicans, like Kavanaugh, who's a shit human being, or Amy Barrett Cohen, brought up that I was like, those are good questions. I like those questions. They seemed like they understood how impactful this case could be on the future. And I sat there and I said, oh, I approve of that. Like I said, I think Kavanaugh is not a great person, but I think that that some of the things that he brought up in the questioning seemed like pertinent things that should be brought up. See how that works? You see how that works? Even though I think he's a shit human being, I still can agree that he might be okay at what he's doing. Possibility? No. You guys will never understand that. I'm watching a guy, watching another guy. That's what I'm doing, Mikey. Let's see. We gave props to Vivek for being successful in Millennial, who was on our primary ballot. Yeah, I think Vivek was, well, is he a millennial, though? He's not young. Yeah, Wyatt Sharp, James. Wyatt Sharp. Vivek's not young. You can't use him, Adam. Jackson? Is that who you're talking about, Adam? Yeah, Jackson's sharp, dude. Jackson's super sharp. You've got to, if you actually listen to the Supreme Court justice, sure, there's a couple times. I didn't like, I think it was when Alito made the joke about, what was it? Grand juries not indicting people was, it happened as much as a solar or, something dumb. He made a joke about the solar eclipse happening as often as grand juries not indicting people, because the lawyer actually followed that up with, well, yeah, that's because federal prosecutors don't waste taxpayer dollars by not bringing or by bringing to trial or to grand jury trials these potential indictments that don't have evidence. Like, I thought that was one of the times that I was like, oh, that's a little basic from a guy that's on the Supreme Court to try to make that point. But a lot of what I listened to during that, like, gives you hope. It makes you feel like, oh, okay, I can see how the system does work, even with people that I don't agree with, Like, I look at, like, Roe v. Wade, and I think that was a mistake in my opinion, but I'm also not a lawyer. I'm also not, when you go into what's going on with trials or with decisions by the Supreme Court, you have to actually recognize that a lot of it is a semantic battle. It's fencing. It's attempting to prove that your point is more contextually based, more factually based than the person that's sitting across from you, while attempting to get these 9 total people that are sitting up there judging it to agree with you, right? And so that's why, guys like John Roberts have on occasion made decisions that sided more with like a Democratic policy than a Republican, regardless of the fact that he's a Republican. And to me, at least for my part, I listen to that kind of thing and I hear it, and it actually makes me feel better about our system, that these people are having these types of conversations, that they're asking these types of questions. I don't agree with everything that gets said, but it does make me feel better about it. Tulsi Gabbard, why do you hate Gabbard? Because she didn't want to run with RFK? Jesus. You very... Vivek is 38. Is that young, Adam? Are we calling that young? Because if we are, I'm still pretty young then. No, I agree, Mark, with what you said. RBG, you mean, not RBJ. But you have to once again agree with what RBG was saying there, was that the law was written poorly. Not that the spirit of the law was bad. It's not that RBG disagreed with the Supreme Court's decision. She felt like the way it was written, or the decisions that it was made over it, were exactly what was going to lead to what happened with the overturning of it. RBG did look and see, or look to the future and see that eventually it would be overturned on legal status, because that's the way that the system works. It's a semantics game that attempts to show where there's fallacies in somebody's argument. And she saw that that was going to happen. So I do agree with that, actually. But I don't agree that overturning it was good for America. I don't agree with that. If you guys want to talk about division, if you want to talk about the fact that right now we have an ever polarized society in America, I think it contributed to all of those factors. I think that you can't deny that the overturning of Roe v. Wade did add to the division in America. I think that that's where I'm at with that. Packers fan. Woke, you're a Packers fan. I forgot. Let's see, you're going to have to deal with Canada flirting with the far right. Yeah, okay. I don't agree that it only made it a state's issue. That's like really reductive. I think when you say things like, when you say that, here, I'll play this while I'm doing this. When you say something like, well, it just made it a state's issue, that's kind of reductive, right? Like, it's a much more complicated subject than that. Saying it just sent it back to the states and then acting like that didn't add any type of complication to the discussion revolving around it. I mean, when you look at something like Israel and Hamas, right? Like, think about it this way, California, Texas, right? So if we ever got to a point where Texas was like, if you cross the border to California to get an abortion, we will hold you legally responsible, and you have, this is hypothetically speaking, you could possibly be punished with up to the death penalty for performing the abortion, up to the death penalty for having the abortion, and you could be, let's say, potentially like a 25-year sentence for being an accomplice. Well, what that would do was that would cause the same problems that we had during slavery, and that was when people were trying to chase slaves across the border, and people in California weren't assisting in the recovery of those slaves, which led to a civil war. So you can disagree with the fact that you think that it shouldn't be a federal decision, that you think that it should be a state decision, but you can't say that it doesn't increase complications, right? You can't say that leaves no argument that things will become more complicated, more divided, and more polarized because of the decision that was made. You watched this video already, Woke? I'm literally not talking about Trump right now, Epic, but okay. I'm totally addicted. I'm fine with that. Would you like to be addicted with me? Nobody wants to get pregnant anymore for other reasons. That's really reductive too, Stan. Yeah, I mean, that's like, once again, like, you guys always want to talk about these things as if they're like this like really simple thing. Just close the border, bro. Just fucking, you just cut taxes, bro. Like, it's not, nothing is ever that simple. Nothing is ever that simple. People aren't having children right now for a multitude of reasons. It's like, I hear what you guys are saying, but even whether you're left or right, like, everybody always like wants to reduce these things down to like these simple terms, and that really doesn't help the conversation. Yeah, Candace, they don't know. They just come walking right into the room. And they're like, he's talking about Trump. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'll give you Roe v. Wade around the whole country if you agree that the whole country now has to have the gun laws. Insert the... Okay, hold on. I don't... you didn't really word that really well, Adam. I'm going to try and figure that out. I'll give you Roe v. Wade around the whole country if you agree that the whole country now has to have the gun laws of the most NRA-approved state. Well, I would say the same thing I would say about Roe v. Wade. I would say that most likely, yes, on the federal level, probably gun laws should be based on the federal level. I think so. I think that we should be looking at the Second Amendment and having conversations about what is and what is not appropriate. I think that we're well past the tipping point as far as like removing guns from society. That's not going to happen. So I think that people should be having intelligent conversations at the federal level about what should be allowed. I do agree with that, actually, but sure. Talk about the crime rate decrease because of abortion. Like, what do you mean? Once again, you guys got to be like use more words. I don't know. Abortion denies the fundamental right to life, bodily autonomy, and denies our core principles: life, principle, liberty, and pursuit of happy people aren't property. And abortion is making that case. Once again, that's actually more words, but I still don't know what you guys are talking about. Okay, you're saying California and New York would now have to have Texas, Florida level gun laws. Well, like I said, I think that that's kind of reductive in the way of saying that would be the law that would be established on the federal level. So in Roe v. Wade, what that allowed was that people had the right to choice. In something like gun laws, if you were to say, okay, well, you have the right to choice, right? Well, then we're kind of taking away the bodily autonomy, right? I mean, it's kind of a hard one for one because you're talking about something that's inanimate that can actually take life with an inanimate object. That's what it's meant for. Like guns are meant to take life. Versus a person's right to bodily autonomy. So I guess the reason I'm struggling with whether or not I would agree with that is because of the fact that there seems to be a basic, they don't parallel well. They don't seem to parallel well. I still don't know what you're talking about. How about how crime rates have were affected by abortion? No, abortion doesn't take away bodily autonomy, Mark, because it's not a child. I disagree with that fundamentally. I believe that life on a biological level starts at conception or when the egg and sperm meet. But I do not agree that a person is the same thing as a group of cells. I disagree. Nope, it's not a child, though. That's the problem. Just like those eggs in that fucking IVF case weren't human beings either. Hammers don't make a house itself. A gun is a tool. A gun is not a tool, dog. Dude, why do you guys make such shit arguments? Like there's so many better arguments to make than hammers or guns are tools. Guns are not tools. Yeah, you have to take a life with that gun. If there wasn't the apparent need that a gun is not a tool. You're a tool. No, it isn't. You guys are so funny. Holy shit. The IVF case was a stupid decision. That's what I'm saying. It's not a child. It's a clump of cells. Nope. See, this is the problem with the abortion discussion. And this is why being pro-choice is very important. Because 65% of the country disagrees with you, Mark. Nail guns? Yeah, okay. Nail guns are a tool. You're right. You win. I've lost due to a semantic fallacy. Clothes hanger sales went up. Yeah, exactly. Woke. Yeah, abortions have completely stopped. Is a bow a tool? No, it is not. It's a weapon. It's a weapon. It's literally made to take life. Was a hammer made to take a life, or was it made for an actual reason? People weren't like, I'll make this bow and arrow so that way I can build a house. This bow and arrow will be used to fix this car. It's not a tool. It's not a tool. Is a gun? I don't know. Is a gun a thing you use to collect the food? Here, I'll give you an exception. I'll give you an exception since that's I'll give you an exception since that's your argument, because Redonk's making a better argument than Sykes. I will give you that if you are a hunter and you use weapons to go out to provide food for your family, that they would qualify as an instrument of that need. I don't know if it would be a tool. Is a fishing pole a tool? No, it's not. I mean, you're still using it, I guess. Is a fishing pole a tool? That's a good question. I would, once again, I think maybe this is a semantic issue, but no, I wouldn't call it a tool. Why would I call it a tool? I'm still waiting for why this is a tool. I'm the biggest tool. Thanks, buddy. Okay, you're using a tool of self-defense. We can make tool anything then. Like a tool could be anything. Everything's a tool then. Because it's used for something. Oh, wait, what? Hold on. Adam, did you say something stupid? As well, until people really change their mind, realize... Okay, hold on. Adam, we don't make Okay, I don't know what you said, but let's stay away from making sexual assault a argument for anything, guys. Put a sign on your door, gun-free zone? No, why? I own guns. The fuck would I do that for? People who don't want women to have bodily autonomy or tools. I treat said items as tools. That's ridiculous, though. That's so reductive. That's such a simple way of thinking. That's like I said. You guys want to think of things in like incredibly... You're like, look. I boiled this down to the simplest possible way to think about this. So that means it's right. That's not how Occam's razor works. I know you guys are like, Occam's razor! I've heard that word before! That's not how Occam's razor works. Do I like Trump? No. Well, I mean, that's a complicated question. You mean like personally? Like I've never met the guy. But do I like Trump's policies would be the better question, Liv. I dislike Trump's policies. I dislike Trump's political beliefs. I do not think Trump is a good leader. I do not think that he is a benefit to society or to America's future. But do I dislike Trump? I don't know him. But if I ever meet him, I'll let you know if I think he's a shit human being or if he's like a fucking weirdo or anything like that. What policy do I specifically dislike from Donald Trump? Well, a lot of points. Yeah, look at you guys. You guys are now arguing over axes and Jesus Christ. I love that that's where you guys think that like that the argument lands. I just got done talking about the Supreme Court and like how like high class and high level that is. And you guys are over here like, dude, it's a tool. That means it's safe. I should own it. Like, this is why you guys, no one takes this shit seriously. This is why you guys can't debate people. Because people are going to be like, bro, that's fucking incredibly reductive. Like simplifying something down to like, dude, it's just a tool. Sometimes I just don't get you guys. Sometimes I don't get you guys. Okay, sorry. I got distracted. What policy do I specifically dislike about Donald Trump? His immigration policy, I wouldn't say I completely disliked all of his immigration policy. I'd say there's certain parts of his immigration policy that I think were... Oh, Adam left. I'm getting distracted. Okay. As far as his immigration policy goes, there's a lot to say about Title 42 and when it was instituted, and when you talk about whether or not it was humanitarian when he instituted the stay in Mexico policy, because there's some information statistically that shows that many immigrants that were forced to stay in America rather being paroled in America during that time, led to, I think it's something like 5,000 to 6,000 people potentially being human trafficked, which obviously I disagree with. But as a whole, as far as his immigration policies go, I think that the border wall was dumb. I think that you're not going to stop people from crossing the border using a wall. I think that it's much more complicated than that. I think that we should have been spending that money figuring out other ways to stop people from entering the country illegally. I think that things like walls are really like interesting for people that are into symbolism. They're like, we put up a wall, we solved the problem. I don't think that that's solving the problem. I think that I would disagree with his immigration policy there. As far as his foreign policy goes, I would say I disagree with his assertion that we shouldn't be involved in the UN, that we shouldn't be involved in the Paris Climate Accord, or things like NATO are bad. I disagree with the majority of those things. I do agree with the fact that other countries should be forced to pay more for certain things, but you also have to get into why that's a complicated issue. Because by America being the driving force of these types of issues, we tend to be kind of like very forward thinking, that these countries are in some way going to be very much in debt to us in the future when we need things. It's kind of like creating a relationship with somebody that has a car when you don't have a car. You create the relationship because you need access to that car. At one point or another, in the global idea, America will need their allies. At one point or another, we will need certain elements as far as like for physical production from other people. So once again, like I said, that's a lot to like get into. You can't just like sit there and say one thing. Would you support a wall with additional technology support and more people? That seems to be the best. I don't think. Bye, Liv. Thanks for coming. Hold on. What are we talking about? Who are we banning? Why are we banning? We don't ban people for having opposite opinions, but if people, here are my rules. We don't talk about children being harmed. We don't tell people to hurt themselves, and we don't tell people we're going to hurt them. These are the rules. Just fucking, they're simple rules. Why do we need help from anybody else? I don't know, Andrew. Answer that question yourself. Jesus Christ. Do you want me to go into why America would need help from the globe? Good God, man. Like, that's a pretty simple question. Why do you need help from your neighbor? Why do you need help from your wife? Why do you need help from your kids? Why do you need help from your coworkers? Fuck, let's just go super duper isolationist and we'll just sit here and do everything on our own because that makes total sense. You have to. Yeah, I don't ban people because they have different opinions. That's not what I do. America needs lots of help from other countries. Adam knows what he's talking about. Okay, sorry. So what I said about the wall with more technology, you would have to convince me statistically that wall would in some way be worth the value of the tax dollars that I am pushing forward to make that work, right? Like if you were able to show me a plan, hypothetically speaking, that involved a wall, technology, a change in the way that we bring people through, that it was more efficient. If you were to say things like, if you were to add justices so that way people can be kind of pushed through the immigration system a little bit faster, if you had like factors like that and then you were able to prove to me that the wall in some way worked in tandem with everything else, sure, why not? Yeah, why not? Lasers and shit? No lasers, dude. Yeah, exactly, Adam. You become Russia, you become North Korea. Atheist lasers are way stronger than Jewish lasers. I've heard that. It'd be easier to maintain the border and bring down long-term costs. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that that's completely true. You would have to show me statistics that agree with that, because everything that I've looked at so far does not show any type of efficacy. The only thing that I ever hear from right-wing people is, China put up a wall and it worked. And I'm like, yeah, there's a big difference between fucking 1,000 years ago and today. I mean, we have ladders now. There is questions of humanity. Like when people talk about putting up razor wire or using guns and attacking people, it's like, you're going to put a bunch of border patrol agents on the border and have them shoot children. How long do you think that's going to last? How long Do you think people's mental health is going to hold up to mowing down people that are running from cartels? The Vatican has some other rules that keep people out of it. Dude, I don't want to go to the Vatican. What is going on in the Vatican? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Just give the land back to the natives. They seem to be good with money now. I love some of these. Like, you guys, every once in a while, guys. Every once in a while. The new Panama. What is the new Panama Canal theory? I don't know what that is. Cali, Texas. They aren't cartels, you moron. Jesus Christ. If you're a veteran and you believe that, I am so sorry. Holy Christ. My entire fucking family is veterans, and they'd all be fucking so sad. They're not the cartels. There are people that are coming across the border that are doing bad things. There are people that have drugs that are being forced to come across the border due to cartels. But they're not all from the cartels, you complete fucking idiot. God damn. Seal the border wall, no wall, whatever it takes, bring order to the border. What it takes to bring order to the border is a lot of very complicated administrative things that people don't want to talk about because they're not fun, because they're not symbolic. A wall is symbolic. People look at a wall and they go, it stops stuff. But that's not what stops people from coming across the border. What stops people from coming across the border illegally is making it an easier process for them to come through legally than it is illegally. And right now, where we stand is a bunch of people are being unduly influenced that shouldn't be to come across the border illegally when we could be helping them come across the border because we actually, whether or not you guys believe they're poisoning your blood or not, they're actually adding lifeblood to our society. When we talk about a depopulation of Western society due to certain factors like kids not wanting to have more kids, young people not wanting to have more kids, you have to get to the point where you recognize the delicate balance that something as large as the United States has to work within. And that is, we have to have immigration. We have to have people that come across the border. We would rather that they come across the border legally. Right now, what we do is we parole them and allow them into the United States. But once they're inside the United States, there are not enough justices that are on these cases to get them pushed through the immigration immigration process in a timely manner. So some of these cases are taking up to 6 years for them to be processed. That means that they are an undue financial burden on society because they can't do the things that a citizen would be doing if they were pushed through the process. And we also, yes, there are other things about the border being protected to stop people bringing fentanyl across it, to stop people being pushed across the border that are looking to do illegal things. There's not a lot of them. I don't care what you guys say. There's no terrorists are fucking running around blowing up stuff in America. You're a turtle person. We can't put turrets on the wall. Jesus Christ. Do you guys think about children ever? I mean, you guys are like, no abortion. Then you're like, mow down the Mexican kids as they try to come across the border. Jesus Christ. What we really need is another temporary shutdown on immigration entirely like we've done in the past till we fix this issue. So you agree with what Biden wanted to do then, Mark? You agree that when Biden said Republicans come up with an idea about how to close the border and I will pass it, and then they wouldn't do it, you agree that that was a failure on their part, that they should have passed that legislation that was supported by conservatives. And at this point, you still can't even make the argument about Ukraine funding because eventually the Ukraine funding was passed. So in the end, Republicans had a chance to close the border, which doesn't happen. You can't close the border. But as you said, I get what you're saying. Semantically, I just disagree. That should have happened. Joe Biden tried to do that. Republicans said no. They literally crushed their own bill because Donald Trump, on an election year, didn't want to give Joe Biden that win. Okay? And then Republicans used the Ukraine funding as the reason why they didn't want to pass the bill and then just pass the Ukraine funding. That seems pretty crazy, right? Doesn't it? We can't put, Jesus Christ. This is why Redonk can't be in the chat. He encourages you guys. He encourages you guys way too much. Oh my God. No, he could have done something executive. Prepperines. He could have done something with an executive order. But do you understand why executive orders aren't great? Because they can be rolled back. So the problem with people constantly using executive power is that the next president that comes across can change that with less resistance. That's why things like Roe v. Wade being pushed up to where it was. I think Roe v. Wade actually had something to do with that too. I could be wrong about that too. Yes, we've done it 3/4 of the time, but it's not closed. I'm just saying, Mark, we're having a disagreement of semantics, my friend. When you say closed, it doesn't mean no one comes across the border. It means that legally we try to shut down immigration for a certain portion of time so that way we could hopefully catch up with things that are happening. I don't agree that that's really the right thing to do, because I do believe that we need an influx of new blood within our society, specifically when we talk about things like Social Security and the crisis that we may eventually meet with Social Security. If we don't have more people coming through into our country, getting jobs legally, paying into the Social Security system, we will have a problem eventually. So I disagree with closing it down. Highest population of old people. Yeah, look at what's happening in Japan right now. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. As someone right of center, I sure do hope there is some shit we all agree on. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that we will agree on, Prepperines. I'm sure there's plenty. If you're not in the cult, I will agree with you. I don't agree with people that are in the cult, because everybody in the cult wants to believe that there is absolutely nothing that Donald Trump has ever done that was ever bad. Like, I can't get with you on that. You're letting asylum seekers live here for free. No one's living here for free, Nate. Jesus Christ. I love how, like, bombastic you guys are. Everything's bad! Left wing is not a cult. Frosty, the left wing spends more time criticizing the left wing than the right wing does. Jesus Christ. Dude, what are progressives saying about Joe Biden right now? What are progressives saying about the Israel-Hamas? I thought you guys knew about all these protests that are happening across the country at all these colleges. You guys are so hypocritical. The left is a cult. Meanwhile, they're literally fighting amongst themselves right now. Did somebody say the communism word? They don't. Anybody that uses the word communism does not know what it means. Guess the kids in Everett just had to get their fentanyl fixed because there's nothing about that has to do with the southern. Well, mostly actually it doesn't have anything to do with the southern border. You do understand that most fentanyl comes through the ports of entry that are not the southern border, right? No, of course you don't, because you've been watching Fox News and you're like, Mexicans! Goddamn brown people did it. It's all the brown people's fault. Imagine if you actually knew the argument that you should make. Good Lord, you guys are so bad at this. I'm in my own cult. I don't have a political party, Andrew. Is it a cult that I lead? Because if it's a cult that I lead, that's pretty dope. But I don't have a political party. I don't claim to be a part of any political party. I have policies and values that I stand on, and they are not at any way or at any time going to change based off of my party, because I don't have a party. You're not anti-immigration. My parents did it legally, paid money. No, we don't agree. Or we don't disagree, Adam. I think that people should do it legally. I think the argument that is made about illegals coming across the border is wrong. That's what I'm saying. I believe we're all being duped by the left and right, and it's I disagree with that, Prepperines. I think that that's the in my opinion, when people use this whole uniparty bullshit, it's a dodging of accountability and responsibility. You got to look at your own vote as being valuable. People that have it's a uniparty, nothing will ever change attitude are a huge part of the problem of things getting fixed, because if you're not going to vote, then nothing's ever going to get fixed. I'm not saying that's your opinion. I'm saying that's what I think. Fox News and NBC are propagandist machines. I don't even think they're propaganda machines, to be honest, Frosty. I believe that they are media money corporations. They are WWE Entertainment. I think that you guys apply to people like MSNBC and Fox News some type of like, oh, they're doing the work of the parties. I don't think they are. I think that they're WWE. I think that they realize they can make a bunch of fucking money by saying crazy ass shit, and you guys will watch it and you'll sit there and love it, depending on which party you're in. And that's why why they continue to do the things that they do. We have, what was it, the 1984, was that when the media law went in, where they no longer had any type of accountability, and they've, went full fucking WWE, and everything is if it bleeds, it leads. I think that's where we got. Redonk's grandpa had to fight the Nazis to become a citizen, guys, just so you guys know. Yeah, I don't think anything about China is very terrifying at all either. Soul. Can we start calling white people peaches? Sure, why not? Let's call white people. I call them mayonnaise. I call white people mayonnaise. So I don't. Yeah. Well, why would I identify with a party, Andrew? I don't feel like any party really represents all of my policies and values. Why would I do that? Let's see. Okay, sweet. He Hurts will be the cult leader. You guys down? You guys want to join the cult? He Hurts is going to be our leader. I don't want to be the leader because it's a lot of fucking work. I'm going to like mostly just nap. I just want like a portion of the profits if you guys make that happen. Progressive policies only lead to people stealing money. See, that's reductive and stupid. I don't like that, Frosty. Like, I'm sorry, dog, but you can't like say progressive policies only. If you start your conversation by saying progressive policies only, you're going to be wrong, because nothing is only. Nothing conservative policies only also doesn't work. You can't, like, you guys, it's called being an absolutionist. Divide and conquer? Well, you're here talking to a bunch of people that may agree or disagree with you, so I guess it isn't working. Yeah, Adam, I think that people, I think people attribute nefarious and malicious reasons to things that are just strictly capitalistic. I think that people look at Fox News and MSNBC and they're like, they're propagandists. They're trying to control your brains. They're all of this. And I think it literally comes down to the fact that they're just trying to make money off of you, and it's working. And there's a high demand for it, and they'll continue to do it as long as you continue to provide them with profits. If you don't like what Fox News is doing, if you don't like what MSNBC is doing, then maybe when you get on the internet and you talk to each other, then maybe you shouldn't just spout all the bullshit that they want you to spout. Maybe you should actually have conversations with each other, and maybe you should start realizing that when you actually talk to other human beings without being an absolutionist, without being extremely reductive, with accepting that things are very complicated and that you give grace to people that are fallible, and you have faith that people want other people to be successful, then you might actually start to be able to get away from things like Fox News and MSNBC. I'm not saying you in particular. No, it was before that, Frosty. It was like 1984. I might be wrong about that. What is the crux of my perspective? Like core values and beliefs? Well, I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-Second Amendment, but I believe that there should be commonplace gun laws. I'm pro-death penalty for people that do things to children because I believe that you cannot come back from that. I believe that it is an issue with your mental faculties, and I do not think it can be cured. Therefore, I think that from a really mean perspective, that those people should be opting out. I'm pro space exploration, which generally puts me more on the right nowadays than I do on the left, as does my opinions of the death penalty, as do some of my opinions on Second Amendment. I do not believe that the First Amendment is absolute. However, I also don't believe that things like calling somebody, a name on the internet should ever be criminalized, nor do I think that the left actually wants that. I think that's more hyperbolic statements, and I think that, once again, that's more bombastic language. Let's see, immigration policy. Well, I pretty much went over my immigration policy. I want to see people coming into the country. I want to see them doing it the right way. I don't think things like walls by themselves stop people from coming across. Economically, I think that capitalism probably, unfortunately, is like the best way to be competitive on the global stage. But I also think that socialist policies like social safety net should also be included, because whenever you have something like a person that is lower middle class and they are being adversely affected in what is an economy that most other people are doing fine, things like social safety nets should exist. So that way, when one of those people in the lower middle class tend to have made a mistake or, chosen to do something that they probably shouldn't have, like invested in true social stock, that those things should exist in case they need help up. I mean, I could go on and on. 24 unaccountable. Okay, well, I would have to look into what you're talking about, Frosty, but I live in California, and I can tell you that the majority of things that people believe about California are wrong. Let's see. I'm a deeply closeted Republican. Dude, I'm not joining any of your gangs, dog. Would I like to explain communism? So communism is the idea that the people own the means of production. So the word private property, when it comes to communism, doesn't mean like your house or your home. It means things like the ability to produce goods. So when you have something like a communistic society, like something like a Leninist communistic society, generally what you have is like something that looks really, really good on paper. You have an idea that all citizens will equally own means of production. There's lots of different types of communism. There's Marxist, there's Leninist. I think even like the Stalinist regime had different types of communism. Just like any type of like government or economic system, there's like multiple different factions of each one. There's some obviously easy to point out failabilities of things like communism, like what happened during Stalinism. If you know anything about Ukraine, you actually know that Ukraine and Russia have been at odds for a very, very, very long time, going back to at least Stalinism. You know, it boils down to the fact that you own the means of production as a citizen, that there's not really supposed to be a state's like somebody in charge, but generally that's not what happens. Is obviously in any type of government, someone's going to find the reins and take over and become in charge. And, you know, as in all societies, you start to see things like, you know, your financial situation creating a gap between those that have and those that do not have. Yeah, exactly. On paper, it looks great. Is my head too big? My head's really small, actually. It's really small. Yeah, it would never work because people are greedy? Yeah, exactly, Frosty. No, people don't. Andrew, parties don't make people. People make parties. It was very good at killing people. The gulags were gnarly. That's why Ukraine hates Russia. As someone who's witnessed the effects of treatment I know that it can be so. Oh, okay. He hurts. I am open to that argument because I would hope that that's something that actually does exist. I do not know that exists in my current knowledge, but I would love to see if you could send me, I don't know if you have something in chat, or you can send something to my email that proves that point. I would love to see that. Champagne communism? I don't know what champagne communism is. I think AI, I have a lot of positive hope for AI. I know a lot of people are doomer on AI, but I have a lot of positive hope for AI. Don't hate what you are just because grandma told you Republicans are no good. I don't hate Republicans. I told you. Well, thank you, Frosty. I appreciate that. In capitalism, you can start as a communist neighborhood. You can't do the reverse though. But the problem with capitalism, Adam, is that part of capitalism is late stage capitalism becomes socialism, and then socialism becomes communism. At least that's what people believe. My email is if you click on the about here, I'll just put it in here. All you fucks can send me emails. That's my email. You guys can send me whatever you want. Don't send me dick pics, please. Greatly appreciate your perspective. Don't agree with you on everything. Don't disagree with you on everything either. That's what we should be doing, prepperines. We should be able to talk to each other. We don't have to agree on everything. One of the things I think that is misunderstood about my channel is I make fun of crazy Trump supporters. So if you believe things like Biden is a skin suit, if you believe things like Donald Trump has never done anything wrong in his life, if you believe things that are completely out of this world, those are the people that I'm making fun of. I will even have a discussion with you if you are open to having this discussion and not completely insane about whether or not Donald Trump did a good job or a bad job during his tenure as the president of the United States. But when people come onto my channel and they're like, you have Trump Deranged Center, the thing about that is this. Donald Trump, in my opinion, is not a good candidate for the president of the United States. If you want to debate that, that is perfectly fine. But if you come into the channel and you say things like, you're an idiot, you're a douchebag, you're this, you're insulting me and I'm going to insult you back. You know, that's kind of the way that it works. That's real fucking life. I'm on here the same person I am in real life. But if you want to have like conversations, you want to talk about things, I love conversations. No feet pics either. Dude, I think feet pics would actually be worse than dick pics. Don't send me feet pics. I'd rather you send me dick pics. The far right either have dirt on them. That does seem like there's some shit going on. That does seem like Donald Trump has some dirt on the Republican Party. Local admin, appreciate you subbing. Anybody that hasn't, please do. The election is going to be lit. Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to say things that you dislike. I literally had a person ask me about the Israel-Hamas war. I've told people before I don't like to comment on it. I don't think that I have a very good perspective on it because I'm not very well educated to it. And that person flipped the fuck out. And they were like, I will never talk to you again. That's a possibility. We're all human beings. We're all imperfect. We're all flawed. But, you know, if you want to have like conversations, then I'm open to having conversations. I like to talk to people. I like to watch videos. You guys are going to disagree with the majority of videos I watch because, yes, most of the videos that I watch are people talking about the fact that they don't think that Donald Trump is a good presidential candidate because that's what I think. But like I said, my point of view is, as George Carlin said, is I want to sit up here and show you my mind works. I'm not up here to change your mind. I want to show you that I lead by example, that I can critically think, that I can agree with things that conservatives say, that at sometimes I can even agree with some of the things that Trump supporters say. And in most scenarios, I can actually steelman Trump supporters' positions better than they ever can. So, like, that's my problem, or my show in a nutshell. Thank you to everybody. I do have to go use the bathroom because I have been sitting down here for God knows how long, and I have drank like a fucking 3/4 of a gallon of water because I am lifting weights right now, and I think that my bladder is about to burst. So maybe a little too much information for all of you guys. But I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. I love you guys. I love pushback. I love having conversations that include information that I do not currently possess. So thank you very much to all of you for being here. Hope you guys come back. You know, I usually stream once every 2 days. If you're a Trump supporter, you don't want to watch my videos. But if you want to check out some of my videos that I make that I put up, and you find making fun of people that think that Joe Biden's a skin suit is funny, check out my videos. I just put up a new one. I do one every week called the MAGA Meltdown that covers the crazy shit that people say and do. Other than that, thanks a lot, guys. Don't forget, if you have a significant other, kiss them, hug them, love them. If you have family members, kiss them, love them, hug them. Have conversations with people that you disagree with. And for the love of all that is fucking holy, go outside, touch grass, and feel the sun on your skin. Because this technological shit is really causing you guys to have some disassociation with who you are as a human being. All right, guys. Love you guys. Have a good night. Bye.